Do 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 do. Wait a minute, hold on. I just saw a comment. First thing I see when we start. I'm not B, and so's my wife. I'm not B, and so's my wife. Wait a minute. Still, are you saying you're married? Because I'm smelling some bullshit in that statement. Because I've never seen a wife, never heard about a wife. I've never, none of it. I don't believe it. Still, sorry, buddy. Anyways, everybody tonight, thank you so much for coming. You know, I appreciate your support. You guys showing up. My repeat offenders who always show up every night. I really appreciate you. And Granny and Richard, thank you for coming on tonight. And there'll probably be more people joining us in about 12 minutes because everybody's late because this is, you know, YouTube. And so Granny was just telling me that she's working on. You said you're splicing the video. You're just cutting it down and stuff.
I'm cutting it down because the movie that Robin and I reviewed was 2 hours and 15 minutes long. And every now and then we stopped it to make comments and talk about what was going on. So by the time I finished with that, we had 2.5 hours. So last week when I was editing, I'd only gotten through 45 minutes of editing, and I'd been editing for 3 days. And Robin said, so release part 1 and do part 2 next week. And genius. Okay, so that's what I
did. Did Robin come up with the Bigot Bingo too?
Yes, that was
nice.
Robin's idea too.
Robin's brilliant. I love it.
Robin is brilliant.
Nothing funnier. If you guys haven't seen or been over to Granny's channel on Tuesday, when are you doing? Are you doing it again?
I'm not going to do Bigot Bingo again, but next week I have Mike from Inspiring Philosophy on. So I'm going to have a much more serious stream next week. And I may do a game afterward, but I haven't decided what game. I've got to come up with another idea.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I love that's full of inspiring philosophy that's full of holes.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Yeah.
I may do another bingo thing. I mean, with the whole grannies doing bingo, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Bingo night with Granny.
I'm resending, Ben. I'm resending it. Hold on. Give me a minute. Yeah, I don't know. So anybody that was trying to come in here and I didn't resend it to you, I apologize. But for some reason, when I copied it off of the broadcast page for StreamYards, it did not work, and I had to come in here and resend it to everybody. So, yeah, let me go steal that from someone else's page here. I sent that to you, Jenny, right? The good one?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm all right, I guess.
Okay, well, I mean, if you're just guessing, I mean...
She's been invaded by aliens. I don't know how all right you can be after that.
Well, you know, it's rough, man.
It is.
Real talk.
They make your body swell up in spots and things and hurt.
I'm not touching that one, Jenny.
I was going to ask if they use probes.
No, I wish they would. That might be more fun. Hey, you started early.
No, I didn't. I started my 3.5 minutes late as normal.
What?
Yeah. I started at 6:33, almost 6:34.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, you got to start 5 minutes late. It's Atheist YouTube protocol, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay. I want to make sure I was still doing it right. I didn't know if something changed, you know. Sometimes things change. There's Ben.
I made it.
I like the exam room behind you. Hey, turn down your mic volume a little bit there. You're a little loud / echoey. Yeah, Dr. Ben is groovy, but Ben is student Dr. Ben right now. Not quite. Few more 6 or 7 years.
Is this better?
Yes, that is better.
I literally just pushed it farther away from me.
Oh, there you go. That works too. Yeah. It was kind of like the difference between this and this, you know, like it was. Jesus.
Yeah, I think my OBS. I just got done recording some videos, so I think my OBS settings are a little bit different for my mic than StreamYard uses. So.
Rock on, rock on. Oh, Ben, you don't know my brother. That guy with that huge beard. That's my brother Richard.
I love the beard.
It's a biblical beard, literally.
It is, yes.
It is. It's biblical.
I was thinking, oh God, now I can't remember their name. Oh, jeez, getting old. That band, they did LaGrange and
Rumors spread around
ZZ Top.
that Texas town about the house outside LaGrange. Like that.
Oh, I would start, but I don't know. I'm a little phlegmy today. I don't
I
know.
always thought it was two particular points in space until I listened to the lyrics.
Yeah.
So what kind of doctor?
We're thinking either family medicine or internal medicine, but don't know yet. So
I was trying to. I don't know if could nobody hear me last night on Neil's stream? Because I tried to speak like 8 times.
I could hear you.
Welcome to my
okay. So it was just people just walking over me. Okay, no worries. Anyways, I was trying to say last night that a lot of people scoff at family medicine, like, oh, you should be a neurosurgeon. But let me tell you, here's the difference. Let's say you're a hand doc, right? You deal with hands. That's your specialty. You deal with just hands. So you know hands in and out. But when you're a family doc, you got to know it all. There's so much more. All you're dealing, because so the family docs, they do a referral. They send the patient over. This patient has a bad hand. And that doc's like, let me look at your hand. He doesn't give a shit about anything from here up. That's it. He just cares about your hand. So that motherfucker knows hands in and out. But that family practitioner has to find out what's going on to figure out where to send you to get your hand fixed. So it's like a puzzle.
Yeah, I love the puzzles. And they also have adults and peds. Like they get every age group. And so I kind of want to be like this one-stop shop for people. And then like only if they really need to be sent out, send them out. Because I know some family docs get really lazy and they're like referral monkeys. But a really good family doc can do a lot on their own. And they just need to be willing to be up to date on standards of care and learn how to do shit themselves. Yeah.
Well, that's how at least 2. One, I don't really know her too well, how she operates. But the other 2, that's how they are where I work. They are hands-on until they know that, you know what, you need to see a specialist because this person is going to help you faster and better than I can. And then they'll send them out to a specialist. But they always wait until it's like, we've gotten 2 sets of blood work back that are funky. We're going to send you to endo or whatever, So they always do that. They always try to do all the right tests, check everything out themselves, and then they get to that point where, hey, let's get you fixed faster and we need to send you out somewhere. So, and this is the first doctor's office I've worked in, so I have no idea how the other doctors do things. I guess the rest of them do that. They send people out a lot.
I've just noticed a lot of people do.
My second daughter is a doctor. And the valedictorian of her graduating class from medical school, when you finish medical school, you go into residency, and the higher you are in rank, the better your chances are of getting the residency that you want. So the top students go for the more difficult residency. And the valedictorian of her class chose a family practice residency, which are the easiest residencies to get. And everyone was asking him, why? Why would you go for family practice? You had your pick of whatever you wanted. And he said, family practice are the gatekeepers of the medical community. We need our best doctors in family practice.
Yes, thank you. Yes, good for him.
And we all love gatekeepers. Sorry.
Not the same thing, Jenny. I don't think that's...
I know. I'm just teasing.
I know. I'm just being sarcastic back because it's my job. Go ahead, Richard.
Clarifying question. No, I don't want to know.
Family practice, you're allowed to do brain transplants then, right?
You're right.
Yeah, always.
Hell yeah, you can do anything you want in family practice if you stay in school and get all those specialties taken care of. So if you start at like right out of college, right out of high school, you should be ready by the time you're 40 to do everything yourself. Totally.
My God, that would be ridiculous.
Could you imagine?
That was
well,
my
for every
daughter's
specialty,
greatest
you gotta have
regret.
like 3 years, right?
My
What's
daughter's
that?
33. My daughter's 33. She actually ended up dropping out of the fellowship that she was in for infectious diseases because it was financial suicide. An infectious disease doctor gets paid so much less than anybody else. Just as a general pediatrics doctor, I make this level, and as a specialist in pediatric infectious diseases, it goes down considerably.
Oh, dang. Yeah, I sold my soul to the Army, so I don't have as much debt as other people do. So.
Yep.
But that also means,
boy.
that also means that I have fewer options to choose from because I'm looking at residencies that the Army has available, and like the Army needs what the Army needs. So luckily, wanting to go into like something very general that they can, like, I mean, family medicine and internal medicine are both very, very deployable, and they have lots of spots because they can stick you wherever they want you to go. So I have a good shot, but for anybody who wants something like very specialized, the military is not a good route because the Army might not have spots for them.
Right.
Doc Ben, I got 2 questions. When you say family general practitioner, don't you also mean I'm never going to stop learning? I'm going to have to keep reading forever.
I mean, any specialty you're going to have to.
And what was your minimum contract?
My contract is 4 years, so really not bad.
That's surprising, actually.
But I'm technically doing more time because 99% of the Army scholarship recipients will match into an active duty residency. So, and that doesn't count towards your payback time. So I'm really going to be giving back 7 years, but it's like at the same time, you're not being deployed during your residency. You're just kind of like chilling at your hospital doing your residency as you normally would. You're getting full Army benefits and you're getting BAH. You're getting paid as an officer. So like, I mean, it's not bad.
What do you start at? 01, 2, 3?
So I'm in 01 right
03.
now. Yeah, you get instantly bumped to 03 on the day of your graduation.
You're kidding me. That's like E7.
Yeah, and you get a bonus on top of
No,
that.
that's a captain.
What?
Yeah, 3 is a captain.
That's what I said. 03 pay is about the same as E7.
As E7, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're about equal. But yeah, and we get a bonus on top of the 03 because they want to keep their doctors so bad. So, I mean, yeah, terrible life.
That's awful.
Poor guy.
So, am I the only one who hasn't fallen prey to the military? Are other a few military?
I was an Army wife for 26 years.
Well, that's different, I guess.
Army.
We didn't necessarily choose that.
Richard, Army. Our other brother, Army. Our other brother,
We're the
Navy.
Army Club.
Our other sister, Navy.
I was hippie.
Somebody's got to do it. You know, it's fine.
Susan was the smart one in the family. She was like, I'm not going in the military. I'm going to go to college. And she did. And
well, wait a minute.
Did awesome, but
Walt was smart and just wanted a free ride to MIT and joined up, but that didn't work out.
What happened with Walt, though, is Dad promised to pay for his college, and then he failed to do it. So Walt had no choice.
Yeah.
Like, he was at that age. He's like, well, I got to do something. I'm going to go in the fucking Army and have them pay for it. You know?
So let's ask a question while Doc's got his mouth full.
Does that taste good? No.
What is that? Is that spaghetti? Is that what that is?
No, it's okay. So I'm weird. It's the spicy ramen challenge ramen, like the stuff that will like make you regret your life choices the next day.
Is that why you look like you're sweating right now, Ben?
Yeah, I haven't had these in a while, but I will like. I love them. Like I love the endorphins.
Start stripping off layers in a minute.
No, I love the endorphins of like spicy food, so I torture myself.
Oh, Ox said they wouldn't take me. Randy said army. And Jay said, ooh, yum. Apparently, Jay really likes ramen.
Did I see Peach in the chat?
Yeah, Peach is in the chat.
Hello, Peach.
So now she knows what you look like. And
I look a lot like this all the
yes, in person too. Sometimes without the glasses, though. Usually only wears them when he's streaming or working on something up close. But yeah.
time. If you don't recognize me, it's because of this.
Yeah, that's usually how he walks around with a hat on.
I look like this, actually.
I just invested in some new clothing for my Twitch stream.
Oh.
I got a Guy Fieri like flame Hawaiian shirt, and I got a hat with like the wig on it, and I got some sunglasses.
Be with a beard. Well, maybe one day we'll find out, buddy. Peach said, "I'll see you downtown, Richard." Because she lives right up the road from you, and she walks down there all the time. So, there you go. Oh, that's weird to see you like that now after all these years. You having that beard. Wow, dude.
I'll give you $5 to cut it off.
He won't take it. He doesn't need money. He literally has more money than I do. It's
$750.
ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, I just borrowed $300 off of him. It's true.
She works really hard, though.
I do
She's
work
not
really hard.
She's not irresponsible.
No.
It's always something else. It's not stuff that she does.
I'm just not making enough money, number one. And number two, banks try to take out my car payments twice. That's always fun.
Stupid.
You know.
Like that.
Yeah. Took it out twice. Same receipt. Yeah. Anyways, enough of that. Yeah. No, you'd have to offer him like 100 people to convert to his version of the Bible, and then he might think about it. But I don't really think that's going to work either.
No.
I said might.
That's self-defeating. Yeah, the whole beard thing is about people not being able to shave in end times because there'll not be any razors. So it's part of the overall message that I do this. So I wouldn't stop doing this. It's kind of self-defeating.
Damn.
But
I'm going to have to stock up on tea.
There still will be obsidian and flint. You can always make your own blade.
You know, maybe you can. Maybe you know how to do that. I think most folks don't know what temperature to put it, where to drop the water, you know, et cetera, et cetera. They're not going to be able to do that.
Pimping ain't easy, huh, Ox? You would know, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I was going to ask you something. Oh, you said you were just talking to Mac. You had a nice long stream with Mac. How's everything else going? How's work?
I want to do a live stream with Ox sometime. Ox seems interesting.
Ox is interesting.
Which means everyone else here isn't.
Right. No, that's what we meant. That's how we
fine.
took it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
We knew you meant that. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
I don't
was
find myself very interesting.
Hey, Grant.
the stream we did today was about the U.S. government's preparation for the natural national disaster Yellowstone. That's what today's stream was.
Same, Ox. Same. I don't want to hear the other bullshit I've been hearing all my life. I like listening to him because he says something that's entirely different.
Well, it's not different from the original text. It's only different from what Christians say about it.
Right. That's why it's interesting, because people keep saying the same bullshit that the guy before him said. So at some point, somebody twisted it, made it into whatever they wanted, and started preaching that. And now everybody just thinks that's the way it is. That's Christian, which is absolutely absurd.
I'm not going to get started on it because that's
Yeah.
a whole
I know.
thing.
You're right, it is. Although Granny will talk about the NIFB and shit with you.
Let's talk
know-
about the NIFB.
Wait,
I'm
before we
pissed.
do that,
Yeah,
Grant,
Jenny.
did you hear about the decision today? A judge, I believe a federal judge, said that West Virginia cannot put into effect their anti-transgender athlete bill.
Good.
No, I did not.
Good.
didn't know there
That's
was a
really
bill.
That's
was that a
awesome.
federal decision or a state decision?
I believe it was federal, but I can't recall the quote. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll have to look that up, because if that's federal, that's
Yeah.
going to set up some interesting situations, because if another state passes one, and a federal judge in another state decides differently, the Supreme Court is more likely to hear it because there's a difference of opinion between two states.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not completely ignorant about this, but I'm assuming I'm at least partially ignorant about this. Jenny, would you tell me everything you just said in some detail?
Well, West Virginia passed a law. I can't quote you the exact language of the law, but it's your basic anti-transgender athletics law that says things like male to female transgender people cannot compete with other females in high school and or maybe college or sports. Okay.
Okay.
And it's based on the evidence that's brought forth by the legislators who get it from the Focus on Family Foundation and the
Family Research Council.
Yes, thank you, Family Research Council, and other radical extremist Christian groups like that.
I would think those would be religious. Yeah.
Yeah, they just have a big boner for anything that's not heterosexual. And it's funded by the Heritage Foundation and all sorts of politics like that. But they're basic anti-trans bills that are based on completely inaccurate, in some cases non-existent science. But they claim it's science because they're Christian.
What's
science.
their assertion?
Their assertion is that because you were born male, that you have advantages over a female that should disallow you from competing in athletics against them. Completely ignoring the fact that if you're transgender, you've gone through, and I'm trying to stay generalized on this, you've gone through a variety of procedures or treatment that make things very different, that you're not a standard male anymore. Your biology, although your genitals may not have been worked on yet, your hormonal balance is that of a female, and
Okay.
that makes changes in the person to the degree that in some cases, that depending on the age of the person and a lot of different variables,
Right.
there are people that you will not be able to tell the differences against. Okay,
Right.
it's just
So if their argument is an assertion of the effect of hormones on the physicality of the person,
no,
and a person's been
their assumption is the denial of their existence completely. That they say things like the blockers that are given pre 16-year-olds, because 16 seems to be the magic number that people will or will not give out hormones. That those are untested and dangerous and shouldn't be allowed and all these kinds of things. These people even go so far as to say that physicians who treat transgender people should be put in jail.
Okay, I think you've switched topics on me. I was talking about restrictions on sporting events.
No, that's what she's saying is when people start doing hormone treatment, it changes everything. You know,
I'm
like
agreeing with that.
Yeah, and that's the point, is they're saying that they're just denying all that and just flat out, it doesn't matter if you're trans or not, then you're still a boy and you can't compete with the girls, even though it makes them weaker and changes stamina and all that.
Right.
They're still saying, once you're on that for so long, you plateau and stay there, and you're not. And you can ask Jenny. Jenny used to be a fucking auto mechanic. Jenny, do you still have the same strength you did before you transitioned?
No,
No, you don't, because estrogen changes you, just like testosterone changes females.
I used to be able to lift 400 pounds. I'd be lucky to do 100 now.
See?
Wow, really?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're acting like it doesn't do anything.
50%. I've often asserted 1/3 strength, but that was the first confirmation I've heard.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad. What's important to remember is that politics they're using is the politics of denial. That just we completely ignore that these other facts that are actual facts exist, and they base it all on verbiage that will scare people and that will make them fear trans people, and that fear some magical horrible thing is going to happen to women athletics. What is in the Olympics has allowed transgender people for what year was it? Do you remember?
Since it was 11 or 12.
Yeah, and this is the first year there's going to be a transgender person competing in the Olympics. Okay, transgender athletes have no advantages. They usually come in second, third, fourth, last.
Yeah, the really sad thing about this to me is people stuck in traditions have trouble adjusting to the reality as they see it because of those presuppositions. It would probably take 100 more years. That they would eventually have to fold, but it'd probably take 100 more years for them to say, well, it's not what we thought it was.
I would tend to agree. I mean, I use the discussion in the world today of gender, the NBs, the non-binary folks, and they're insistent to be called they and them, and messing around with pronouns, and that's fine. I got no problem with that. But what they need to realize is that it's going to take 3, 4, 5 generations for the rest of the world to accept that, because that's just the way people are. How long it takes to learn these things. And adjust and adapt. I mean, there's been a binary for 10,000 years. It's not going to just suddenly change in one generation. So, yeah, long term shit like that matters.
And
okay, I want.
Let me just say
something. Sorry.
Let me say one thing real quick. I think this is ridiculous. I'm going to tell you why. When our grandmother was 16 years old in 1933. She ended up being a judge at a drag queen contest. This is not anything new. Everybody just move on with your fucking lives. Quit worrying about it. If you don't like transgender people, don't marry one. If you don't like gays, don't marry a gay. That's all you got to do.
Well, not to mention that none of these people ever cared about women's sports before it became a transgender issue.
Oh, yeah. No, they didn't give a crap. They were still giving women little skimpy outfits. These women are playing arena football, which is one of the roughest, toughest forms of football. And they make them wear like shorts and half tops and shit. So the guys will watch it. Like, it's not about that for them.
I've never seen that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Arena football is like some rough shit, man.
That's horrible. Do you have a link?
Oh, I could find you one.
I was just kidding.
Oh, you're just being. Oh, yeah.
Well,
fuck off.
Yeah.
That's why I watch it too. But the point is it's sexist.
Look at the difference in uniforms between boys, whether it's high school or college volleyball, and women's. The women's wear these tight little shorts that are crawling up your damn crack, and the boys are wearing these much more comfortable baggy things that aren't going to show you nothing. And why is that? Why is it? Who decided on that uniform that has become universal in women's
men?
I'm thinking.
You think?
Although you do have to admit that in the 70s, what the men wore on the basketball courts was awfully skimpy.
Yeah, it sure was.
Yeah, and the reason, first of all, let me show this up. I cannot say that name. Enriquez, who was crowned Miss Nevada USA on Sunday, will become the first openly transgender woman to compete in the Miss USA pageant. About damn time. You can tell Trump's not in charge. The other thing I want to say is, you're right. You're right. They're not talking about F to M because they think, oh, that woman is still weaker, which is true. It's a lot of women will still be weaker, even on testosterone, even after transition, just like men are going to, weaker than the typical man anyways. But, there's really no disadvantage for the straight people that aren't trans. It doesn't fucking matter. Let them do it.
One thing that's interesting, I did a debate on the topic of trans women in sports. And when I saw the way they worded the topic, I was ecstatic because I got to talk about exactly what I wanted to. And my opponent, who was the one who worded the topic and did a really poor job at wording the topic, was kind of bowled over by what I came in with, because what he asked was, should trans women be permitted to compete with cis women? So I talked about baking contests, beauty contests, essay contests, any type of, competing for a job. Yes, of course, trans women should compete with cis women. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I said that right. And he wanted to focus exclusively on rugby. Now, that is one place where I had a major disadvantage because I have never watched rugby. I don't know anything about rugby. And I really don't know how a trans woman would do in a rugby match.
You know what? I wouldn't even recommend a big, strong man to go into rugby. Like, that is the most vicious sport out there. I mean, it is literally a contact sport with no equipment to protect you.
It's practically designed to hurt people. It
It is literally, yes. Okay, Go ahead, Granny, I'm sorry.
I ended up concluding with the debate by saying, as long as you let trans women everywhere else, yeah, I'll go along with banning them from rugby.
Right? Yeah. That's fine. We don't care about rugby. only like the crazy Irish and Scottish guys want to play rugby anyways. So,
Yep.
So while we were talking about all of this, I saw Ben doing this over and over again. So Ben, stick your two cents medical wise, whatever you want to say in.
No, I agree with everything that you all are saying, and it's just like, so I do combat sports, which is one of the big points of this debate right now, especially like with Fallon Fox and that whole thing. But people need to understand, if you sign up for professional MMA, and we're not even talking just, there's a question.
What the heck did you combat? What'd you say?
I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I only do the grappling side. But like the issue with Fallon Fox and that skull fracture that happened, like, people don't seem to understand the fact that, like, we're talking the UFC. So we're talking like the highest tier of MMA. We're not talking people just like, yeah, I'm going to sign up for MMA one day and just like give it a shot. Like, these are people who have been competing professionally in MMA for a long time, and things happen. People get hurt in MMA. That's the whole point of the sport, is to punch people in the face. Yeah. And like, it doesn't matter if you're cis or trans, there is a risk that you're going to get a skull fracture from anybody. And it just happened to be that this person is trans. But no one makes those kinds of arguments when you have like those huge injuries between two cis people. It only matters when one person is trans, and only if it's a trans woman. That's the only place that people care about that. Like with the Conor McGregor fight recently, where he had that nasty tib fib fracture. People aren't like, oh, well, these cis people are just hurting each other, and we shouldn't allow cis men to fight each other because it's so scary and people break things. No. So then why are we talking about like these people who consented to the sport, who have been competing professionally for a long time, and now we're mad about it?
You know what? I want you, Ben, and Granny to do a video together on why cis het men should not be in sports.
Yeah,
that would be so amazing.
We do that.
Oh boy.
We could talk about football head injuries.
Oh yeah, we could.
Was tib, fib, tibula, fibula, and that's the leg? That's the lower leg?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, he broke both?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, his leg folded in half, so I'm guessing it's both.
Ooh.
That'd have to be both, wouldn't it?
That ain't a hairline fracture right there, folks.
Damn. That's happened in football, regular football too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Regular American football or regular football?
Yeah, here regular football is American football. In Europe,
okay. Just checking. Right on.
It's like what we mean when we say fanny and what they mean when they say fanny.
Yeah, I've heard a story on that one. Yeah.
But
they're right. There's more of them though, so they're right. I argue America's wrong.
Richard, to bring this back to the discussion. I don't know how familiar you are with the transgender bathroom bills. It's the same. It's the same crap.
You mean they're charging if you're transgender to go to the bathroom? There's like a bill?
No.
How much?
It's 35 cents. Who has payment on it?
But only for trans people.
That's not fair.
You know, they're saying, oh, you can't let trans people in women's rooms because they're a danger to women.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So they write these bills that say you have to use the bathroom of your birth certificate, which means that any of these really strong, bearded, very burly female to male transgender people have to go use the women's room.
Kind of like my son. I'm going to tell you right now, if my son, and I didn't know him, walked into a women's room and I had a little girl in there with me, I would freak the fuck out. What the fuck are you doing in here? Because he's got like this big beard,
Well,
burly guy, you know.
The reality of the situation is that, to my knowledge, as far as I know, in fact, there has never been a case of a transgender woman sexually attacking a cis woman in a bathroom. For the last 100 years, that transgender people have been officially recognized by medical science. Okay.
Okay, here's going to be the only problem I have with anything you just said. And I think it's the only problem. What happens when cis males start claiming to be trans?
They don't.
Really?
Oh
You're
God,
telling
that
me this-
stigma behind that?
This
What you're saying.
this overly arousable young male will not say I'm a woman and go into the woman's restroom. He won't say that.
Okay, here's the problem right there is the fact that
from the restaurant. Go ahead, Granny.
well we don't really have bathroom attendants places, right? So would if a cis man wanted to go into the bathroom to harass people, he doesn't need to say that he's trans to do that. He could just walk in and do it.
Right, that's the problem.
Well,
So then why are we making this about
problem's
trans
always
people?
been
'Cause
there.
They can just that's always been there. That's nothing
That's
new.
not
They
anything
have done
new.
The problem
Okay, but
is
now
not
there's
with-
a cover story. There never was a cover story before.
No. The problem is not trans women. The problem is men.
That's what I said.
Right. And trans women don't do that. Okay.
I'm
If a
not
man
saying
comes in-
trans. I didn't say. I said cis.
I know you didn't
Great.
say that.
Oh, okay.
What I'm trying to say is that it's a ridiculous concern because it doesn't happen. If a man wants to go into that bathroom and harass women, they just go in and do it. They don't need a cover story. They're awful, terrible, scary, dangerous people anyways.
And do you think that anybody that wants to like grab a little girl out of a restroom is going to go walking around saying that he's trans? No.
I've just heard
Those
horrible
people don't
stories
say
from-
anything about their sexuality because they're afraid somebody's going to find out they're a pedophile.
Okay,
in
this
my
is my
opinion.
point. I'll be more specific. I guess I was way too general. Perverted straight guy that looks like a straight guy, okay, goes into a bathroom. Before these kinds of ideas were more socially acceptable, everybody freaks out and kicks the guy out. Everybody would. Now you're not even allowed to ask. And
Okay.
they've got a cover where they can pretend something that's not going on.
Okay, here, let me offer you this. The reality in the places where these laws have been passed, and there's a few states,
Okay.
the people who are being attacked, harassed, and kicked out of the bathrooms are cis women who don't particularly look traditional, stereotypic female, not trans women, because they can't tell. Even though they say we can always tell, they can't damn tell.
I have something to say here. So here's my opinion on it. Okay, there are plenty of places you go that they have little unisex bathrooms that anybody can use. There's places overseas that you walk in and there are stalls and it's unisex. So really, the problem here is that we have separated the sexes so much because men were afraid to be around in a bathroom where women were, because that's really where all that shit started. Because we know, because the men were always in charge, until, I don't know, 10 years from now or something. So that's the problem. You go into these, what I do, because you know how it is with me, Richard. Like, I walk in a women's bathroom, I get a dirty look. You know that. It's a family joke at this point. So if I go into a place and they have a family restroom that says unisex on it, I just go in there. So if we just made the bathrooms unisex, like made some bathrooms unisex, or let's say every establishment just put in 3 bathrooms that are a single stall with a door and has unisex on it. Doesn't fucking matter now.
The other part of the issue,
but they want to have a fit about it instead of just fucking conceding this much and putting in some extra fucking bathrooms.
The other part of the issue that isn't addressed at all is it depends heavily on what state the trans woman was born in. Because in some states, it's relatively easy to get the gender marker on the birth certificate changed. In other states, it's damn near impossible.
Don't tell them that.
Don't tell them which states are easy.
I never heard of any such thing before. Thank you.
I didn't know either till just now.
Well, I was born in Illinois, and I found out that, yeah, there's a bunch of forms you have to fill out, but basically anybody who fills out the forms and can get a therapist to sign it, it's done.
You know, I feel like all of this, and you know, Brandy's right. Perverted men go in the boys' room to grab little boys. It's true. Like, that shit happens. And that's one of the things, it's not, I don't think it has a goddamn thing to do with trans or not or anything. I think it's just religious people trying to get everything their fucking way like they always have. Because that's always been a thing. Everybody kowtows to everybody that has a religion. You know, if you're religious, sure, go ahead and wear that large gold dangerous cross at work. We can't say anything about it. You might get caught in a conveyor belt and kill yourself, but it's fine because it's a cross. But you come in there with a skull and they'll make you take the fucking thing off. And I've literally worked in places like that. So, you know, I feel like all of these religious people have had everything their way for so fucking long that they don't want anything to change. They want it to be exactly the way it was, so they have all the rights and fuck everybody else. And that's the bottom line. That's what all of this shit's based on.
Richard, the deep backstory to all this is that this movement of anti-trans bathroom bills first started in Europe, in the UK.
Okay.
And when an anti-trans group, I don't know if they were that or some other quote unquote civil rights group, started the discussion of trans women should not be allowed in bathrooms, and it's because it's a danger to women and private spaces and all these different things, all based on lies, all based on untruths, and it did what it was intended to do. We know what it was intended to do because the people who invented it came full circle and admitted in a magazine article that they made it all up specifically to frighten people about trans people and to make them the enemy so that they could make it a political hot potato. That they admitted this is all a lie and we're the people who invented it. And so this is in print, okay? This is just bullshit in print. The important thing to remember for all these people who are suddenly frightened is, okay, example, I have been using the women's room for 40 some years now. And I've never really had a desire to attack anyone I saw in there. I promise. But trans people have been using the appropriate bathroom of their apparent gender for decades and decades and decades and
sure.
decades and decades and decades, and nothing has ever happened. Okay, this is all religious-based bullshit.
I have a question.
I'm willing to concede all that if you're willing to agree with me that nothing statistically interesting has happened. Things still happened, but things always did.
Yes, I would agree that there have always been men who would walk into a women's restroom to cause trouble. There's men who have been walking in the last 10 years who have been walking into women's bathrooms with miniature digital cameras to film up skirt. Okay, so yeah, perverted men have been out there for a long time.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
I have a question. There was a recent event in San Francisco where a man walked in. You know, I figured you would know about this. I have no idea if that man is a trans woman or if this is a cis man. I don't know the gender of this person. I only know what I've heard very briefly.
It was a cis man.
It was a cis man. Okay.
Yep.
Went into a women's bathhouse. And did he claim that he was trans?
My understanding of it was that he had hid in a unisex bathroom and waited for a woman to come in.
Mm.
So it was a unisex bathroom in the first place. So this wasn't even relevant to the trans issue.
No, it wouldn't be. But yeah, because what I was told was that he went into a bathhouse where women and young girls were bathing.
Okay, unless it was a different incident, that wasn't what I got from the article I read.
One of the things that's happening is the political tactics that are being used are sending people in as stooges to pretend they are trans in various situations, just
Yep.
to set up non-issues.
That's
just
another
to create
problem.
a scene.
Yep.
Yeah, of course they are. Of course
And
they
people
are.
suck it all in, and the media sucks it all in, and then so for days you have these headlines about some trans person, blah 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 blah, when in reality the trans person never existed.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Purple,
That's why I referred to him as a man, because I was pretty sure he was a cis man, not a trans woman.
Yeah.
Purple, I heard this story or the beginnings of the story Godless is telling, and it is two different stories that you're referring to, if you would let her finish.
Oh, I was done.
Okay.
Purple didn't interrupt.
Well, I thought you were going to say that this person had male junk and was exposing themselves in what was obviously a female-only designated area.
Right.
Okay, so you didn't really finish. That's why it's offensive.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like it was a different incident then.
Yeah, that's not the same thing as somebody. Yeah.
Richard,
You know,
Yeah,
on-
Katrina was telling me this story just the other day.
on a lighter note, I just want to say one thing, and this is going to be kind of funny, but I'm absolutely serious. Even if and when, probably when I transition, I'm not using the men's room. I've walked in truck stops behind men in unisex bathrooms. They're fucking nasty. I'm going to keep using the unisex bathrooms. I have no interest in going in behind a fucking man. They can be and I'm not saying women don't do it too. Both of them can be, but typically more often men are nastier. You know, if the stalls are full, a guy will take a shit on the floor. A woman will stand there and fucking hold it and squeeze your ass cheeks together. You know, I don't want to walk in and find a pile of shit on the floor. So I'm just going to keep using the unisex anyways.
Richard, you need to also understand that when a person is trans, they aren't cis today and trans tomorrow. It's a process. There's a process of transitioning where the person is, you know, doing their psychotherapy, doing their decision making certain that they're not screwing up their lives. There's a period of time where they're just starting hormone therapy. It takes years for that to completely change a person. And there's a period of time very, very often between transition and surgery. And so during that time, you will have a trans woman who walks into a bathroom and has male junk, but it doesn't function like male junk. It's only an extended ureter, really. And they're going to go in, they're going to sit down and use the toilet just like anyone else and finish up and walk out.
Well, and of course, the more central problem, which was mentioned before about women who didn't look feminine enough being harassed, is a matter of, who's making that call, that on site, who is deciding whether this is a man or a woman.
I mean, I get it all the time, Purple. I get women that look at me funny. You know what's weird? Or no, let's not say weird. Let's say refreshing and yet interesting. That doesn't happen to me now. That hasn't happened to me since I left Ohio. I've had one person look at me funny. And the area I was in was succinctly more female, the place I was in. And I've had one person kind of look at me and then go, oh, never mind, because of my hair. But where I used to, it was all the time. I all the time got that. And what I used to tell them is, I'm not insulted that you think I'm a guy, because I'm somewhere down the middle. I know I look guyish. I'm good with that. That's who I am. The problem I have is you think I'm illiterate and I can't read. That offends me.
I love that one.
And there's even a picture on the door. You know, the one with the cape or the one without the cape.
Well, and this
Robin
all
would
brings
love
up
that.
this all brings up an interesting point too, because like depending on your state and your provider, there are some restrictions to even being able to start a medical transition. A lot of states require you to live as your identified gender for like, and go through therapy for 6 months before you can even be prescribed HRT. And so you have somebody who probably doesn't pass as their gender that they identify as, and then they're being forced to live as that gender while not passing well, and that can lead to a lot of harassment. And like then they're like, okay, well, I need to start using the appropriate bathroom in order to even be able to be allowed to have my HRT. But then that's leaving them at risk for like a lot of terrible things to happen to them. So like that's a huge problem. So like you need the HRT to pass, but then you have to start like living the way you want to, even if you don't pass. And then that's where we're getting a lot of these issues as well.
Yeah,
That's
Ben is
what
absolutely
Robin
right.
is.
They did that with they did that with my son as well. He had to prove that he was living a life as a male in order to get the HRT started. He had proved that because he was already being himself prior to that, so he was already doing it. And the only reason he never got harassed is because he had like size double G boobs before he cut them off. So people never said anything. You know, he could do whatever he wanted with his hair and everything. And however he dressed, people saw the boobs, he was allowed in the door. No one really harassed him about it, you know? And then, you know, it was easy for him to do that, but not everybody's like that. Look at me. Like, could you imagine if I was like a guy trying to be a woman right now? Because I'm really bad at being a woman. I'm just saying, you know, I would never pass. I would never pass.
There was a
Yeah.
period. There was a period in my life where I was very, very androgynous, and I did not pass most of the time. And I specifically would use the men's room just because I didn't want to get my sisters upset because I knew what I looked like. I don't look that way anymore, but during the time, that was just how I felt, and I think each one of us has to make that decision. You know, it's like preoperatively, I would never have gone into a women's locker room, or hell, I wouldn't even be seen in a swimsuit on the beach. You know, I just, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to take that risk. I don't want to look like that in public. So
Yeah.
each one of us makes our own decision about it. But whatever decision we make, we're not there to cause trouble.
But you know what Ben was saying, and Ben brought up a good point with them making any transgender person go through all these steps. They're actually calling them out as being not normal to the rest of the world and literally fucking them over. Why do you think
Yep.
there's like all these loopholes? Why do you think there's so much hurdles you got to jump? It's not because they care. They're doing it because they have to give us so much because they have to, because we are part of the voting public. You know, the same thing they're doing with gay people. You know, you got to do the same thing. You got to give them an inch, you know. But then they put these stipulations on it so you can only go so far, and it inhibits you from being, you know, who you are. And they win over and over again. They win. I mean, they don't write laws the way they do by accident. It's not like, oops, we put that in there.
And from my personal experience, I've only started transitioning in the last 2 months, but I had many experiences in my life that I got harassed because I didn't look masculine enough to start with. At the public pool, I had gotten harassed in the locker rooms because I didn't have enough chest hair.
Wow.
Yeah, like I pass as a 12-year-old boy, I do not pass as a man, and it really messes with me because like I'm an adult. I want to be seen as an adult. I want to be taken seriously as a man, but I can't be because I'm 5 feet tall and I have a baby face. So like,
Start
sure.
finishing your sentences with "damn it." That'll help.
I
Damn it.
had the same problem when I was your age. At 25, I could still pass for 16. And now I'm reaping the benefit. I'm 60, and very few people realize that I'm 60.
I was gonna say, Ben, this is what you do. You go, you know what? I'm thinking when you're 60 and I'm 60, I'm gonna look 40 and you're gonna look 70. So this shit's just gonna get better with age, baby. That's right. Better with age.
Well, Ben,
The
maybe
hard
I'll
part-
Ben, you
the
just
hard
started
part
at
was-
60, didn't
The
you?
hard part was applying for a job when I was under 30, and people asking me, "Are you old enough for this job?"
Yeah, I'm just ready to walk into patients' rooms on my rotations. I have to be like, can you get this child out of here? Like, no,
My daughter had that issue for a bit, and when she changed her hairstyle, it made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm on T. I started T a week ago. So I'm 2 doses in.
2 shots in.
Yeah, 2 shots in. So hopefully I'll get a beard and that will help me a lot.
Mhm.
But in the meantime, I'm like, you know what? I would rather like be gendered correctly and be assumed to be a child than to be assumed to be an adult woman. So like I'll take my little victories there.
I think you should get like a patch, a special patch made. It's like this big to put on your lab coat. And I think it should say Doogie Howser ain't got shit on me or ain't got nothing on me or something.
I was just thinking of.
And just go ahead and own it because you're going to hear it. Just go ahead and own it. Just make it your own joke. And then no one. See, that's what I used to do when I got bullied when I was younger for whatever. I don't know, whatever they were bullying me about. You know, I just would own it first. I started making jokes on myself. And I've done it ever since. And it turns out I find it quite hilarious. And it's fun. And so I will do something that no one sees I do. And just in case someone saw me or just in case somebody finds out, I go tell everybody, look, man, look at this stupid shit I just did. You got to see this. This is really stupid. I just tell everybody. Fuck it. Own it. Yes, Richard.
So there's no way to not be rude. If you leave without saying good night, peace and respect, then you're rude. And if you interrupt, you're rude. So peace and respect to you all. Have a great time. Thanks for letting me on. It's great chatting with all of you guys.
Goodbye, Richard. Nice
Okay,
to
We'll
meet
see
good
you
night.
guys around.
Bye.
Bye, bro.
Jeez, he's
Oh,
ruined.
yeah, math pick in the chat.
Oh, here he goes. You know, he's going to want to talk to Ben and not me. I told Granny about that shit earlier.
Everyone's here for me. This is the only reason B brings me on is because I bring all the attention.
Is that what you think, Sunshine?
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally
You
kidding.
ain't kick your ass, Alfie? No, I'm kidding. No, I just instantly got along with Ben. So now Ben's
Yeah.
always invited. Yeah.
I just have to throw the shit back because, like, you're not real
No, I
friends
like it.
unless you give each other shit. Like, if you're
You know what?
if someone's too nice to me, I know we're not friends.
Just remember, Shorty, I'm almost 5'7", and I could like throw you over my shoulder. Now you may kick me to death and kick my ass, but I can still put you over my shoulder while you're killing me. Just saying.
See, and now that you're giving me shit, I know we're friends. So it's
Yeah. Oh, well, you know, my policy is just don't be an asshole or be a dick. And I pretty much, Ben brings all the boys to the yard, Ox said.
I mean, you're getting some shit from Math Pig now too. So
Oh, that's what you keep telling me, Matt. But every time you come up here, and if I hadn't said anything, you would have started talking to one of my panel and said, "I'm not here to talk to you. I just came on because I want to talk to, i.e., Granny or i.e., Ben." That's what would have happened. See, I know you, buddy, but it's okay. I still love your little curly-tailed, little redheaded ass. Gotta watch them Irish pigs, man. They're crazy. They are crazy.
And Stool's already found a way to bring it back to food.
I thought, Math Pig, I didn't send you a link. Oh, I think you got the bad link.
Oh, that was smart.
No, that was unintentional. That was
send
smart.
Math Pig the link that doesn't work.
I already did. I sent it to everybody. I had to resend it out.
Yeah.
He got the evil
Well,
link from the mirror dimension.
I would just like to take this moment of peace and tranquility to say I'm just really proud of both you, Ben and Purple, that you've been brave enough to crack your eggs and that you're coming forward, and I just hope things go well for both you folks.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I couldn't have done it without having a supportive community here.
Yeah, it helps.
Well,
It's
we're
all-
always here
That's
for
why I
you.
used to do all those freaking mental health streams that people wouldn't come on. I was trying to connect people and get people to realize there's other people out there like them, and someone cares and someone loves you, and a lot of someone's, mostly a lot of someone's. Anyways, that's how I feel about that.
So I did. I don't know who all was watching Neil's after party yesterday, but we had an interesting conversation about Cheerios. So I was at the store today and I got some Cheerios and I got some beer, and I'm going to be eating that on my Twitch stream tomorrow if anyone wants to come join me.
What time are you doing that, Ben?
I don't know. I got to figure that out.
You
Okay.
actually put beer on Cheerios and eat them?
I'm going to,
Ew.
Why would anyone do this?
because it was a joke and I'm a troll. Like my entire Twitch channel is just me trolling the internet. So why not?
Okay.
Well, personally, I can't understand why anybody would drink beer in the first place, but
Yeah, I am not a beer fan, so that sounds weird to me from a whole bunch of levels. But
It's just bread and more bread. You got the solid bread and you got the liquid bread, and you're just putting the bread together.
I don't like liquid.
Yeah, but one of those breads are not like the other.
Oh,
But we're gonna
Not-
do it.
It's like saying Subway bread is bread. Just
Okay,
saying.
well that's not bread,
Mm-mm.
but
That is pretty funny, though. It's got too much sugar. We can't designate. I said, well, so what is it, like a croissant? I mean, how do you label it after that?
yeah,
Right,
in
we roll.
Ireland, they legally had to label it as a pastry.
Really?
Yeah, because the Irish government said it had too much sugar to be a bread. It had to be considered a pastry.
It's a pastry.
Subway
kind of
so it's more
pastry
like a
would you-
cake.
Yeah, Subway. What kind of pastry would you like your BMT on today?
It's just a cake. It's a cake.
It's a cake with no icing. It's not very moist either. No, actually, I like some of their bread.
If any of you are ever in southeast Wisconsin, look for a Cousins Submarine sandwich shop.
Yes.
You've been to Cousins?
Yes. I'm from Wisconsin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You are.
Yeah.
So am I.
Well, originally, I was really young when we moved to Colorado, but we would go visit all the time.
Well,
Where in
Cousins
Wisconsin?
makes
From Madison.
Okay. I'm from
Cousins
Milwaukee.
makes
Well,
the best
I'm
damn
sorry.
bread for a sub anywhere. It's just it's absolutely artisanal. They've been doing it since 1969, and the recipe hasn't changed. No, I'm done.
I just want to say, Randy, I love cider with Fireball. You got to get the right one, but if you can get that right, like the traditional apples, Macintosh. If you can get a Macintosh tasting cider with Fireball, it literally just turns it into like apple cinnamon. Drink,
Don't
and
we
it's
call that
fucking
Angry
delicious.
Balls?
I
Called
don't. Oh
Angry
my
Balls.
god, I love it. Fireballs. No,
It's Angry Balls. But if that's implying you're using Angry Orchard, but I think the name should just be universal.
Maybe Orchard Balls. But I do like.
I like Angry Balls.
I know. I kind of like Angry Balls. Damn you! Why'd you come up with that, bastard?
I didn't. Somebody else did.
Oh
I
really?
don't get to take ownership of that. Yeah, I just heard
Mhm.
it from somebody else, but
That's a
Don't
great-
you know if you hear it anywhere, you came up with it? This is Atheist YouTube Protocol. We got to
That's-
have discussions. No,
I'm
just
too much
kidding.
of a scientist. I don't want to claim things I didn't do.
No,
I
I'm
have
just
a
kidding.
drink I invented. I probably should claim a trademark or something on it.
You should, Purple. Tell us about that because I like that idea. Go ahead.
It's a pint of iced tea with a few drops of peppermint spirits and a double shot of the Fireball whiskey. So I call it a Dragon Ball tea.
Dragon Ball tea. I like it.
That relates to the game, right? Which I've never played.
So Ollie said, Ben, if you're going to stream it, you should have Cheerios and a couple of different things to taste test, like Cokios, Caesarios, Coffeeos, Cideroos,
Fruit
and
Loops.
finish it off with Beerios.
Yeah, because when we started that conversation by talking about the Dunkin' Donuts like coffee cereal, and we are saying you could just make that by putting coffee on your cereal, and then it went from there to beer on your cereal. I do have coffee that is like cold that I could also put on cereal.
Ah, dude,
But
let me know if that's good. I'm a coffeeholic.
Yeah,
It'll
but I need
change
to
my
get the
cereal
right,
world.
I need to get the right cereal for that though. Like I feel like coffee needs to go with Cocoa Puffs.
Great
Right. Right.
Coffee.
Rummy-O's, Vodka-O's, Whiskey-O's.
That sounds too strong.
It sounds like it would make you puke after the third bite.
What was Jenny saying?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Sorry, Jenny.
I don't. It just faded from brain.
It's all good. Somebody
Beer
made
ice
me
cream
this
is good.
this drink one time. I stopped at a truck stop and we were sitting there. We were going to be sitting there the whole weekend. So we left the truck stop and walked down the road, and there was this little like mom and pop bar down there. We had a blast. We shot pool, got some drinks, and it's so illegal to be drunk and to step into a tractor trailer. Let me just tell you. So we stayed at the bar until like about an hour before they closed, before the cops started hanging out around there. And we went out and went around the back of it and walked to our truck and went to bed. But the lady made us, she said it was like their signature drink, and it was called the Drunken Pirate. And it had like 7 different alcohols in it. And I'm telling you, I drank 2 of those. I was trashed. It was 7 shots in one drink.
Ooh.
I got like this much left at the bottom of the second one. And I was like, nah, dude, I'm good. I need food.
That should
I'm
be
done.
illegal.
It
Just
probably
kidding.
would be, but I was in one of those states like Kentucky or something where everybody's
yeah.
like, yeah, America, so I don't know. It's hard to
I
tell.
just can't deal with being drunk like that. Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. It tasted like freaking Kool-Aid. It tasted like one of those like girly drinks that has way too much alcohol in it. So you're drinking it and you're like, oh, this is good. This is refreshing. It's hot out. And then you're like, wow.
Those are dangerous.
Yeah,
For-
no, seriously. I don't
For
know
the
what the hell
record,
she was trying to
Kool-Aid
get me
is a
drunk.
lousy mixer.
It is a
Kool-Aid,
lot.
yeah, no, Kool-Aid is not. Don't use Kool-Aid.
I did a Twitch stream with my friend who was visiting me a while back, and we did like a Lunchables cooking challenge because this friend of mine is in culinary school right now. So we did a cooking challenge where they had to make like a gourmet meal out of Lunchables, and then I had to make drinks out of whatever drinks were in the Lunchables. So I had like Kool-Aid and Capri Suns, and it was really interesting.
So like they took the ham out and like sliced it thin and decorated and I
what
took
they
this
did
pizza
was
sauce and
they
dribbled
made
it
a-
over.
They took the pizza, the Lunchables pizza,
Yeah.
and then they made 2 things. So they made a calzone, but essentially they took Ritz crackers and the pizza crust from the Lunchables, like broke it all down, made a dough out of it, made a calzone, and then also made like chocolate truffles out of like the little baby Crunch Bar and Oreos.
Shut up.
That's pretty creative.
That's
so
really
good.
creative. I can't even go there in my head.
It was delicious.
Lunchables are such awful food.
Oh my God. I
Mhm.
can't eat them, man. They're just.
They're
See,
so
that's the
expensive,
bad thing
too.
about being a super taster. I taste the preservatives and everything. When I drink Kool-Aid, all I can taste is bitter. I don't care. When I was a kid, I used to dump a whole bunch of sugar in the Kool-Aid. My mom would get mad, but I was trying to get rid of that bitter flavor. I didn't understand that it was the chemicals in the fucking Kool-Aid that I was tasting. It was the food coloring and shit. And so I used to dump extra sugar in it, and the other kids would be like, damn, this is too sweet. And they put more in on top, we'd drink some and they'd like dilute it, and I go, I can taste it still, But I didn't understand that's what it was. So when I get something that's heavily chemically or preservative filled, I know it. And if it says organic on it, I will be like, you're a fucking liar. Like I taste all that shit, and it sucks. I would love to eat junk food sometimes. That's horrible.
Yeah, I'm the
Yeah.
opposite of a super taster. I will eat anything and everything. So
Well, that's like people try to use taste to get me to quit smoking. They're like, oh man, when I quit smoking, I could taste all my food so much better. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, it heightens your taste. I'm like, so I'm going to taste more chemicals? Fuck it, I'm going to keep smoking. Not interested. I'll be down to like, I don't know. I can taste bitterness in lettuce, vegetables. I taste it in everything. Anything that might have a bitterness in it, I fucking taste it. And it's irritating.
Yeah, see, I don't pick up on all the chemicals, but the artificial sweeteners,
Oh, yeah.
they always leave a weird aftertaste.
I can tell you which one it is usually too, whether it's aspartame or like that sweet and low shit or
I'm a Splenda bitch.
Oh, Splenda's
I'm
the
a Splenda
closest to
bitch.
sugar, and I still
Yeah.
hate Splenda. I still can't use
Well-
Splenda. I've tried it.
Splendid dude. Don't misgender yourself.
Actually, if you look at the molecular structure between sugar and the plastic they use for the grocery bags, there are only like 2 atoms difference on that molecule. And all of the artificial sweeteners are some manipulation of those 2 atoms.
Yeah, but okay. But here's the thing, though.
So all the artificial
almost
sweeteners are basically
everything-
halfway between sugar and plastic.
Okay, yeah, but you get a vastly different molecule even just by one methyl group difference. So you can't even use the argument to say, oh, well, this is bad because it's like similar in structure, because we get into a lot of fallacious reasoning.
Well, no,
Esther-
but that
Esther-
is also why cats and dogs like to lick the plastic bags, because to them they taste sweet.
Okay, I'll give you that.
A couple of pairings away from cholesterol.
Give up.
Same with testosterone. It's just they're so similar. It's not. But I think the difference between estrogen and testosterone is I think what one bonded hydrogen atom or oxygen.
Yeah, and it's like it's the argument that like a lot of anti-vaxxers will try to use to say that ethyl mercury is bad and stuff, and like they don't understand the difference between like ethyl mercury and methyl mercury and that and elemental mercury, and they're using this argument of, oh well, these are so similar. But even though they might be 1 carbon off, they're vastly different, and one will kill you and then one won't kill you. Same thing with ethanol versus methanol. Methanol will kill you. Ethanol is delicious. And I mean, methanol is also delicious, but please don't.
Yeah,
Just
okay,
say
that's a valid
no.
point.
Ben, are you afraid
Yeah.
of GMO foods?
I am not afraid of GMO foods. And I can give my whole little spiel about that.
Well, I would like to hear that because it freaks me out.
I'm good
Yeah,
with that
okay.
too.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Genetic modification is not an end result. It's a tool to get there. So saying that GMOs are bad is like saying, oh, like this bridge is bad because of the tools I used to build the bridge. Like, no, you're worried about like the individual bridge itself. Like, does the bridge do what it's supposed to do? And so like with GMOs, there are certain ways, sure, if you modified a food to produce like snake venom, that would be bad. That would be a bad modification. It would be harmful. But there are other modifications where if you are making rice, have vitamin A, that's something that's beneficial. And so just think about the modification process as a tool and not as the end result, and then weigh the actual end results and then decide if those individually are good or not. And that's how I think you really need to look at it.
My only concern about GMOs, and as far as consuming them, I have no concerns. It just doesn't bother me. I trust the science. But what I'm concerned about is the environmental aspect of how one crop could potentially take over indigenous species or some of the other lesser bred or more historic forms of corn, tomatoes, whatever we're talking about.
Like ancient grains kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are valid concerns, and I'm not well versed in agriculture, so that's not something I'd be able to talk about. But I could definitely see concerns environmentally depending on how that went. But I couldn't answer that.
Yeah, that would be my biggest concern too, would be the GMOs cross-pollinating with another closely related species. That could have some
Actually,
unpredictable
there's
effects.
some very interesting court cases about that, where one farmer A has crop, non-GMO crop, and farmer B across the street has GMO crop, and the GMO crop pollen has blown over and fertilized the farmer A's corn, and so when farmer A goes to sell his corn, Monsanto says, we want money for that because you stole our pollen.
Yeah, I've heard about cases like that.
Yeah, that's some weird stuff. And definitely, like, I would not be able to weigh in on any of that.
Well, also, GMO is actually a very broad heading that, actually can just include some things that have been practices of agriculture and animal husbandry for centuries.
Absolutely.
That like the, corn and bananas have been, selectively bred and modified from their original form for so long that people from 100 years ago would not recognize them now.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead. Dan.
something else. It's like the interesting way that people have been defining GMO and defining, say, organic food. It's been weird because people are very against targeted genetic modification, which that's actually the safest way to go, because then you're targeting something very, very specific and you know exactly what mutation you are getting, because it's very difficult if you're doing something like that to actually modify the DNA in a way that's going to be unpredictable. You're getting a very predictable end result by doing something, say, in a lab with like PCR and DNA hybridization, CRISPR. That stuff is very predictable. But the ruby red grapefruit is an example of where they've used like radiation to randomly induce mutations. So they're just like, yeah, we'll put this under some radiation and it's just going to randomly mutate. And now we have a ruby red grapefruit. But that's very unpredictable mutations. You don't know what you're getting. But
That's really what they did?
That's how we got ruby red grapefruits. But
Really?
But the ruby red grapefruits are not considered to be GMO. And so they can be classified as organic. So like the definition of GMO is very skewed, and so you get weird stuff like that when people are freaking out about it.
It's interesting that the ruby red would breed true. That's after just damage to some genetics. That's very interesting.
But in the process, we also got half a dozen grapefruits that just grown to kill me.
If people were genuinely concerned about this and they had understanding about genetic manipulation and what it does to crops overall, the global picture of it, they should be very, very, very concerned about what's going on in the potato industry, and particularly the Idaho potato industry, not the state, but the brand, not the brand, even the species. Almost all the potatoes that are grown in the upper northwest of the country are Idaho potatoes, and they are all going to McDonald's. And if there's a blight that hits that particular strain of modified potato, it's going to wipe it all out, all of it. And if that's the only potato we grow, we don't get no more potatoes. That's what's happening to the bananas right now. Banana crops are ready to collapse because of a disease.
Well, and it already happened once to the bananas in the 70s. That the bananas we see in the market now are a completely different variety from the ones from the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, but they're virtually all the same species.
Yeah, they are the same because they actually are all clones from the same plant that they've just, grafted pieces from the same tree over and over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I guess the bananas will not self-replicate. That's part of the modification.
Yeah, well, part of the way they've been refined is to virtually have no seeds.
Mhm.
So they really have no viable seeds to be planted.
Yeah, I know. When I was a kid, I wanted to grow a banana tree, and so I saved seeds. I picked seeds out of a banana and dried them and tried to plant them. And finally, my science teacher says, those aren't viable seeds. But I admire your effort. Thanks.
Well, and that's the case with most of the food you get in the grocery store, because most of it is modified or hybrids that are almost always sterile. I tried that with squash, and it's like the squash you get from the grocery store. You'll get a lot of vines, but it will never fruit.
There you go.
Interesting.
Otherwise, why do people have to go out and buy seeds? Wouldn't people that are farmers just take the seeds that they naturally have? Like, let's say you're starting a farm, wouldn't you just use the seeds from the grocery store? If you
And that's part of it, that some of the companies that have developed these crops have done that deliberately, just so that the farmers have to keep buying seeds and they can't just take the seeds from the previous year.
Well, they also get sued based on patent infringement. That if you are growing this GMO corn and you save enough of it to replant next year, but you don't pay us our royalty or whatever, we're going to sue you for patent infringement because you've taken our modified GMO crop and reproduced
No,
it.
yeah, you're right. They have contracts and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's absolutely the truth. Yep.
See what you learn.
All those seed companies have patents on everything.
Yeah, they do.
Yep. Yeah, exactly, Randy. That's all about money. Monsanto wants you to come to them. Yep. Ben isn't ripe yet.
I'm muted. I can't figure out my life. Okay, but that's the interesting thing. Like, people went after Monsanto for the doing the GMO thing, but like, it's not them having the GMOs that's a problem. It's the shady business practices and like the business ethics of it. So like, we're kind of going after them for the wrong thing. Like, we need to be going after them for like not being assholes.
Wouldn't that be nice? If people weren't assholes.
And stop.
Yeah.
It would be boring if people weren't assholes, wouldn't
If
it?
people weren't assholes. Yeah, I guess.
Stop producing foodstuffs. It also works as a floor wax.
Granny would have to start doing crochet streams. Or, I'm sorry, knitting streams.
No, I'm crocheting.
Oh,
I
you
don't
are
knit.
crocheting?
Oh,
Okay.
She's got the
I
hook
can knit,
now.
but I prefer crochet. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Stool
yeah. Oh, you got the little
Stool calls
shorty.
this my voodoo stick.
The voodoo stick.
I bet he does.
Is Stool in the chat still?
No, not he hasn't
He
been
was
here
there
for a few.
before.
Sloth Girl has a line about that, about knitting, that that knitters sit there with a ball of yarn and wave sticks around and mutter to themselves, and clothing appears.
Wait,
Crazy
that isn't
little
how it
bastards.
happens? That isn't how that happens? Wow.
I wish I had the patience and the dexterity to knit or crochet. I just don't.
I actually
used to know how to
learned how
crochet.
when I had my surgery, because I knew I was going to be laid up for 3 months, and so I needed something to do for 3 months. So I learned how to knit and crochet. I learned right before I had the surgery.
I like me.
Yeah, I did know that they merged.
I did not know that.
That was a while back, but yeah. Yeah, my medical school, actually. So my first year of medical school, when we're all just starting out, obviously we're all looking for friends, because we're all just these nerds just starting school. And I found a little group of friends to play D&D with, but then there was a bunch of other people that started like a knitting club. And so they had all these like med students that would just like knit together, and it was so cute.
Yeah, my mom taught me how to crochet when I was like 13 or something. I was bored and what are you doing? I'm crocheting. You want to learn? I guess. And so I learned how to do it and played with it a little bit. And then my ADHD kicked in and I went out and played with a basketball or G.I. Joe or I don't know.
Well, that's actually why I brought the crochet is I get bored during streams if I don't have something to do with my hands.
That's actually a really good idea.
I actually have modeling clay that I should pull out.
Yeah.
That's why I've been eating, but maybe I shouldn't eat like all the time.
Yeah.
Like when
Yes, you should.
Like when I go to therapy, I'll take modeling clay with me. And I just make animals or whatever comes to mind while I'm talking to them.
Yeah, I forget
me
that I have
focused.
this, but I have been wanting to just like do just chatting while I just play around with my suture pad. So
Oh, and practice your sutures.
yeah, I'm just gonna throw some sutures. Got my little suture pad.
Aww, I want to do it. Ben, I
It's
want
so
to
fun.
play.
You can buy these on Amazon, super cheap.
Ox
better
can
the-
cross stitch.
The better the suture, the less the scar.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not,
right.
I'm not that good yet, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to learn ones where the suture doesn't show, but I'm not very skilled yet. So
Ben,
Oh, the
That's why
under
we
the skin
practice.
ones. Ooh.
yeah, this
Yeah,
is why we
those are tough.
practice.
when they
I'll probably
did-
just throw some regular ones tonight, though.
when they did my zipper for my bypass, the doctor obviously just rushed the closing, and when he got to the bottom down by the xiphoid process and stuff,
Mhm.
he kind of like just folded and doubled over tissue and stuff, and it just got horribly infected. And to this day, the end result of because of his bad suturing is that I have this lump that basically it looks like a third breast right in the middle. It's small, it's small. It doesn't actually look like a breast perfectly, but it's just this big lump of tissue that I refer to as my third breast. And,
Oh,
and
man.
what's even worse about it is that and I don't understand this dynamic at all. The skin that healed over is apparently so thin that in some situations I can when I wear a bra, it will actually rub through and I will end up with this open wound by the end of the day.
Shit.
Wow.
And it's been going on for 20 years.
Have you tried patting it somehow?
Yeah, that's what I end up having to do. But if I were to,
I was
forget
going to say
or-
you should be able to use like kinesiology tape or something like that, and it'll stay on all day. Or some of that tape they use for like women's boobs and modeling and shit. You should be able to use some of that and put it over, and then it'll just slide. And it might get kind of a little sore, but it'll keep it from opening it up.
So I'm all for you practicing. You just do a great job there, and
Well, we're going to glue anyways. So by the time Ben's totally done with school and has his own practice, he's just going to be gluing everybody anyways. So
Probably. That's
Yep.
fair.
that's what they
keep
did with Swede. They glued his chest shut.
Yep.
I
I keep a
How he
tube
did
of
it so
super
far.
glue in my toolbox, and I learned that from the doctor on the ER. Because when I
Yes.
hit my thumb with the table saw, he put super glue all over it. Although he said that was because there wasn't enough skin left to actually stitch it.
Hey Ben, have you heard about that? Oh, you just remind me of something. I gotta say this. Have you heard about that carbon fiber powder? There's a company that produces carbon fiber,
Mhm.
and the guy's like some kind of scientist or something, and he's been playing with powder. And he mixed in this carbon fiber powder with something to make it more fluid or more like a glue consistency. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly what. He might have mixed it with a form of glue. So what they did was they took this rat, cut its spinal cord right in half with a knife, put this glue carbon fiber mixture on it, stuck it back together. In 3 weeks, the rat was walking and had one paw that was kind of still adjusting to the new nerve set.
Oh, dang.
In
I gotta
3
look into
weeks.
that.
Wow.
I gotta look into
Really cool shit. This guy's about to be really, really fucking rich.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, a cube, for people that don't know, like a cube, like 3x3 cube or something like that, a carbon fiber is like $6 million. So it's really expensive stuff. But yeah, he like ground it down fine and put it in there. And so basically what happened with the rat was just laying there like this for like a week and just like twitching a little bit here and there. And so they bottle fed it. And basically what was going on when the nerves stitch back together, you have the nerves where they used to be connected to your brain. You know, you got your like hand, your foot, your nose, your lips, whatever, right? And instead of being like this, it ends up being like this. So then the rat had to figure out, well, okay, this nerve doesn't open my mouth anymore. This nerve now moves my right paw. So he had to adjust to that. So it's literally like you could do this with a person and put them through PT, and somebody with a severed spinal cord will walk again once this guy perfects this shit.
There could be a period of time where brushing your teeth would make you orgasm.
Exactly. You don't know. Yes.
There's actually an interesting phenomenon that happens in some facial surgeries, and this is something that's legit. Because your nerves can, there are ways for them to heal and to grow back. But sometimes if you sever part of the facial nerve, so the facial nerve contributes to both lacrimation, so like crying, and it also contributes to salivation. So there are cases, like there's kind of phenomenon that will happen if you sever part of it to where it's confusing, like where it swaps function essentially, like your lacrimal nerve will swap functions, and so like I want to make sure I get this right before I like actually say something stupid, but
okay, think about it for a second. I mean, that's complicated. I don't blame you. Yeah, anyway, so I just thought that would be something to make your brain stir a little bit. See what you think of that. And if you want to know more about it, just get a hold of my brother. He knows the guy's name and everything that's doing this. I have no idea. I want to say it's like Josh something. Josh. John, Jack. Starts with a J. I can remember that. Junie said, Jenny, isn't that part of a hentai?
I'm sure it is somewhere.
Ox said, try cross-stitch floss and a 3-strand set might give a good result. Granny.
He was talking about, I had told him that the scarf that I made for Pale Blue Mama, I had stitched the word NASA onto it.
Yeah.
But he does cross stitch and I don't. And when I stitch that on, because the lines of thread are very long, they don't stay very well. Right. You have to kind of push the A into place or it all just kind of falls together. Right. And so when he said that he cross-stitched, that gave me an idea. And I was thinking cross-stitching letters onto something might work better. I have made things where I've crocheted letters and then I sew the letters on. But a scarf is too small to do that. I can't crochet a letter that tiny.
I figured it out. I wanted to look it up to make sure that I got the switch right. But the condition is called gustatory hyperlacrimation. So essentially, you are going to tear up whenever you're salivating. So like if you're eating something and you're gonna like salivate a lot, if the nerve now regenerates connecting to the lacrimal gland, anytime that you salivate, you're gonna cry. And it's a thing that can happen after surgeries.
Damn, that's crazy. So like if you're having a shit day and you start crying and you're sitting there going, ah, you're just gonna be like pouring out of your mouth.
No, it's the opposite. So if you're...
Oh, so it doesn't work both ways, just the one way.
Well, I haven't heard of it working the other way. I'm sure it might be possible.
Okay.
But it's super weird.
Yeah. No, that is weird. It's very interesting. They were also talking about like it's kind of like with the spinal cord being severed and glued back together with the rat. It's kind of like the guy that lost his hand. He was a vet and he lost his hand from like mid arm down. And he went to the doctor. He said, "Man, it's just like my ghost hand is hurting me." And the doctor's like, "Why?" And he's like I think my fist is clenched or something. I can't unclench it. And he said, "I'm just like constantly clenching my fist. Like it hurts because, you know, get those ghost pains." So because his nerves in his arm here were clenching like they were clenching his fist, but there's no fist there and he can't see it. So he couldn't open it back up. So the doctor put his other full hand in front of the mirror with a clenched fist, and that had him put his other hand behind the mirror and let go. And he felt the muscles relax in his arm. He was like, "Oh my God, thank you. That's great." He's like, "Now I know how to fix it."
Yeah, the ghost sensations are not fair.
This was not only the ghost, but the muscles in his arm were clenched like he was clenching his fist, you know, so it was stuck there because the ghost part of it was clenching. Yeah. Go ahead, Purple. I'm sorry.
Oh, just say I have had days that it has driven me crazy that the ends of my fingers itch and you can't scratch something that's not attached.
See, good point. Thank you. You did lose the top 2 fingers?
3
fingers.
Everything but the index finger on the right hand.
It took
right across there, huh?
It took years for after my bottom surgery for certain nerve impulses to be interpreted correctly in my brain.
Yeah.
That some things, you know, sexually would feel penal related when they weren't. And it just took years for my brain to learn the proper.
And that's something I've really wondered about the surgery. It just, you know, it seems that getting the nerves right down there would be very difficult.
Well, you see, it's mostly not an issue because they don't touch any of them, but the tissues are repositioned, and so the body seems to. And this is just my own supposition. I didn't read any of this or anything like that. It seems that the body is remembering the structure and position of the penis. And so when you have certain sensations, it still thinks that structure and position is there when it isn't. And so your mind is going through this phase where it needs to go, "Oh, that's not this thing out there. That's this thing in here." And it just changes over time. For the most part, after surgery, everything feels exactly how you would expect it to feel. But there's like these 1 or 2 little points of sensation that I had that my brain had to deal with that way. I haven't heard other people talk about that. Maybe it's too personal for people to discuss. But that's what happened to me. I've also always had this one particular part of my body down there that it would have an itch that would itch. It was like one particular nerve ending goes crazy, and that still occurs much less frequently. But the new position for it is rather difficult to get to, and that's a little annoying. But
yeah.
It's interesting. Very, very fascinating to go through all that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like to make this joke that the soul is actually connected to the pudendal nerve, mostly because I love to see people Google what the pudendal nerve is. And also the muscle that is innervated by the pudendal nerve is the coolest sounding muscle in the entire body, is the bulbospongiosus. And anytime I don't know what the muscle is, if I'm thinking of a muscle, I just guess it's the bulbospongiosus because it's the coolest one. But yeah, the soul is actually connected to the pudendal nerve. And I'm going to leave it at that so that you all have to Google it now.
Well, I am not going to Google it because that would require I attempt to spell it.
Pudendal.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Jenny already knows what I'm talking about.
I know what it is.
I've read Grey's Anatomy a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a guess, but
Which is why that TV show is named that. For those of you who never checked into that,
Mhm.
Grey's Anatomy is a book that
It's a
everybody
textbook.
who's in medicine has read. Or should
I mean,
have.
they don't use it as much anymore, but
No. But mine was a
it's
lifetime
weird
book.
because they use like everyone uses Netter now, and Netter is the creepiest book you will ever read. So
Netter?
like that, yeah, it's just a book of anatomical drawings, but the way that he draws them, like he puts them in very sketchy positions that just makes it look very inappropriate. Like it's like, dude, he is a perv. Like I'm pretty sure Netter was a perv. But there's this one picture, and I don't know why they need this picture in there. But it's like they're trying to demonstrate the process of a pudendal nerve block, which this will give away where the pudendal nerve is. But you can
I've
often,
had one.
yep, it's you can.
That's
numb
not
it
by your
in
pineal
in
gland,
childbirth.
is it?
Mhm.
No, it's down like for they'll numb it for childbirth because it's a lot of cutaneous sensation in that kind of area. So in order to block it, you essentially have to like you stick a needle down there. But they have a picture, and this is a drawing of just somebody's
So
hand.
that's what they numb up when they give an episiotomy?
Yep.
Mhm.
Oh, I've had that done.
Yeah, so the picture is
Doesn't
of
feel
this
good.
person with their finger trying to find the nerve. Like, but why did you need to draw this picture? This is not necessary. All you could have just drawn the picture and been like, this is the pudendal nerve. But no, you had to draw the finger. And it's just like,
What the fuck? Are you serious?
yeah, I can find the picture.
What is
and
this
send it
like
in the-
Kama Sutra biology? What the fuck?
or maybe the
I
illustrator
mean anatomy.
was
I'm
just,
sorry, anatomy.
Maybe he's
maybe
saying
the
that
illustrator was just trying to give the censors the finger.
maybe he's saying that if you stimulate this nerve with your finger, that you don't have to go through all that other orgasm stuff. My
Other
favorite muscle.
I will find this picture.
My favorite muscle is the pubococcygeal. That's
It's
Yeah,
a
great
what?
one.
pubococcygeal muscle.
Mhm. It's not as fun as bulbospongiosis.
Well,
In
yeah,
my
I think
opinion.
I think I agree. And I might have to change my favorite muscle here.
Yeah, yeah.
For a long time, my favorite muscle was latissimus dorsi. So
My other favorite is the stapedius, only because the stapes is the best bone in the body, and the stapedius is the muscle for the stapes. So
Damn, how come I don't remember what the state? I don't remember. I don't expect myself to remember the other shit, but I used to know all
it's
the
the
bones
smallest bone in your body. It's
that's
in your
the
ear.
in your ear. Oh, I
Yeah.
was thinking it was the one in your foot. What's
But the
that one in your
stapedius
foot?
is actually pretty cool in that it's a muscle that it makes it so that your like it's not too acoustic. Like it kind of dampens sound so that like your eardrums doesn't blow.
Well, maybe mine's
Me-
dampened too much. That's my hearing problem. It's when these undampen my nerve.
Are you saying that the stirrup, to use the street vernacular, the stirrup actually transmits sound from one end of it to the other end of its tip, and it is allowed to flex in and out to dampen sound?
Well, so if the stapes moves, right, but
Yeah.
sometimes if you have vibrations that are too much coming in from the outside, the stapedius will just kind of like act like a little spring and be like, nope, don't go that far.
Yeah. Think of it as an H, that the two bottom legs flex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. I didn't realize that. That's pretty neat.
super fun.
B, I need to get going, but thank you very
Okay.
much for having me on the stream. It's been a lot of fun.
It has. You know, you're welcome anytime. I'll try to remember to send you a link. Sometimes my Twitter feed, the messages people end up down here, and I don't scroll all the way down, and I forget people sometimes. So
Well, I frequently am occupied with family stuff in the evening
Yeah.
anyway, so I don't frequently do stuff in the evening, but I was free tonight.
cool.
But-
All right. Well, let me know anytime you want to jump in and I'm streaming. I'll shoot you a link. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
It's always nice to
Thanks,
be
Granny. See you
Good
later.
night,
It's
Granny.
great seeing you, Jenny.
Have a good
Purple,
night.
Ben.
Hey Ben,
She's great.
Let's talk. Let's talk DNA.
Yeah.
Do you think the day will come where they will be able to take a genetic sample from you or me and alter it so that these cells you get it from can now grow into the genital and support tissues that will match you or me so that there's no rejection issues and that they could just transplant these grown organs into a body?
I don't see any reason why it couldn't happen. So I'm going to say, yeah, theoretically, sure.
Yeah, I'm too old. It won't happen to me. But
Well, and that's in general, that's a goal they've been working on for some time, not specifically for the, gender related things, but just that they could grow replacement organs for somebody who's got a damaged kidney or liver.
Mm-hmm. Which would be awesome. Would love to see it.
well, I'm just thinking that would you need donor tissues anyways for the ladder structure underneath it all?
It's a good question. And yeah, I'm going to have to think over a lot of that. Make sure I know what I'm talking
For
about.
those in the chat who don't know, every organ in the body, if you strip off the actual cells from it, which you can amazingly do with dish soap, there's this very fine but very definitive ladder, I call it, superstructure within the organ that gives it its shape. And then when you apply cells to that ladder, the cells know how to grow to that shape of the organ.
Mhm.
It's kind of a fascinating process.
Well, and obviously that varies some with which organ you're talking about, because kidneys,
Right, Randy?
like a kidney, they can't regrow, but apparently a liver, they can transplant half a liver, and then both patients will regrow it into a full liver again.
Mhm.
They are trying to regrow livers. I guess the problems that they've been having is with the tubular structures within the liver doing their job or being contiguous enough to be able to do their job. I don't know the exact details, but I read a brief discussion about it.
Yeah, it's all super, super fascinating. I did have a little thought experiment that I guess someone on Twitter, I think they're a nurse practitioner, but they posed kind of a thought experiment on Twitter. And I kind of weighed in because I think it was a fun topic. But talking about if we could reprogram cells via genetic modification to switch from being testosterone producing to being estrogen producing. And I went into this whole thing about it because it's really, really complicated. Because testosterone is a precursor to estrogen. So no matter what, you're going to have to produce testosterone from the cells that produce estrogen. But yeah, there's some fun thought experiments.
I thought there were already rat experiments done where they were able to, I think they made, I forget which direction they went.
Well, it's interesting because it's not like you have cells that only produce testosterone or only produce estrogen. There are specific enzymes that are involved in both processes, and you have to go through. Well, typically you go through testosterone to get to estrogen. You can also go through androstenedione, I believe, and get to estrogen. But either way, the key enzyme here is aromatase, because you have tissues in your body all over the place that will convert androgens to estrogens. And so like fat tissue has aromatase. The liver has aromatase. Placentas have aromatase. I think bone also has aromatase. So if you have testosterone and you have an abundance of aromatase, you're going to get high amounts of estrogen. But if you take away that aromatase, you're going to not produce estrogen, you're going to produce testosterone. So I do think you could change the overall organism to more likely produce estrogen or testosterone, but switching the individual cells, I don't think would do a whole lot, and I don't think that would further the end goal, I guess.
I thought the impression of the rat study I've heard of, I've been looking for it so I could read it if there is indeed some actual paperwork on it, is that they were able to get an ovary to actually convert to being a testes.
Yeah, you can do something like that with like I'd have to look over that process, but yeah, that goes beyond just the estrogen or testosterone. Like we're talking like spermatogenesis, oogenesis type stuff. But yeah, like because that stuff you could do on an individual organ level, but with regards to the broad spectrum of hormones, you'd have to like change the entire body's hormonal climate, I guess, to make any difference, because there's so much interplay between all of the organs that will do that.
Oh, Ox, you're too much.
Damn it, Ox.
Menopause.
The men, pause. Yeah, the men that pause.
Ben, I would assume that you're aware of uterine transplants.
Yeah.
Wait, no, keep going.
Well, I mean, they're looking into a lot of that now. It's kind of a newer thing with being able to transplant a uterus, like into a trans woman.
That would be amazing. You know, here all I can think is how come they can't give us like just shots that change that shit, and then we can stop with the hormone therapy and we'll just be what we're supposed to be.
I wish it worked that way. It's so complicated. Hormones are so complicated.
No, I'm sure it is. I mean, you're altering our complicated shit. What, Jenny?
I'd love to see them learn how to unlock the bone growth plates that turn on, and the plates put a stop to the bone growth, and
right.
That's what's happening in puberty and stuff. If they could reverse that process somehow, and
if they could do that, I would be so happy.
Let my feet shrink.
And let me grow beyond 5 feet tall.
Yeah. Will Powers. Do you know Will Powers?
Oh yeah. No, I know about Will Powers. Will Powers and I are really, really tight.
Are you aware of Ben Powers, the family practice person out of Michigan?
I'm not.
Oh gosh. I'm going to have to give you links.
Yes, you are.
One of the most foremost experts on HRT therapy in the world. He is a family practice doctor who is not afraid to look at numbers and do lots of testing and to make alterations in people's dosages and form of medication, timing of the medication. His goal is, of course, to try to reproduce the precise cycle during puberty of various hormonal baths and stuff that the body takes, so that whatever breast growth or beard growth or whatever occurs, that it occurs just like it does in the pre-programmed person, let's say.
That's awesome.
He gets a lot of flack because people say his results are all anecdotal, but he's got over 2,000, 3,000 anecdotals, and when you get enough anecdotals that are true, then it is true, at least in terms of logic and philosophy. And there's a lot of people who absolutely swear by him. because they've taken them from, say, somebody who's stalled between a Tanner 2 and 3 or a 3 and 4, and we're able to get them to a Tanner 5 within a year or something like that.
I mean, you'd think if he'd be able to at least write up some case reports.
Well, what you can do is get your butt on YouTube and do a search for Willpower HRT. And
Yeah,
he's got a whole series of lectures that he's given on it.
I mean, like he could go beyond like if we're worried about the anecdotes, like I'm sure, I mean, if you have all of these cases that are successful, like I'm sure he's probably written case reports on them, case studies, because why wouldn't you?
I can't say exactly what he's done because I just don't know enough. But I do know that he has these things up on YouTube specifically for professionals to watch and learn.
Yeah, I bet he's published something.
I would think somewhere.
Yeah.
But WPATH is not real thrilled with him because he goes way outside of their limitations, and he criticizes them, and I think rightfully so that they're unwilling to examine and readjust their guidelines.
Yeah, WPATH needs to reevaluate some stuff.
Yeah, they're like 20, 30 years behind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I'm glad I mentioned that. Yes, I will definitely send you poop on that. The guy's brilliant. I'm strongly considering going to him. My therapy is not performing the way I would like it to, and I'm willing to take the drive to Farmington Hills, Michigan, and get on his 1 or 2 year long waiting list. He trains other physicians, by the way, if you're interested.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Sorry, I realized I had some work shit that I forgot to tell somebody. So I'm not trying to ignore anybody. I apologize.
That's
just shit. I was like, oh crap, I forgot to remind her about this before I left. So now we had to have a big discussion about it. But anyways, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. What were we talking about?
Boob food.
Oh, really? Boob food is interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see your tats.
Whose?
Yours.
Mine?
Yeah.
I've showed you guys my tattoos before, haven't I?
I haven't seen them.
And put me on the spot. All right.
Well, don't if you don't want to.
No, it's fine. This one is well, I guess I can full screen it, right?
Yeah. Is that intricate?
Oh yeah, I drew this one and the artist touched it up for me. So it's the road of my life. And it starts all the way up here. No, I'm sorry, wrong side. It's backwards for me. 1971 came in, Army in 1989, skull because my mom died. Go over to 1991, had my, right here, had my daughter, now son. Go down here, came out in 2001. Then the curvy, dangerous road sign is from when my sister died. And you come over here. Oh, I forgot that merge is for when I got married. Because even though he was a guy, I still cared about him. The hole in the heart is for my sister dying. Then you go down here. My Nana died. And then you go down here, and it's when I became an EMT. And hence
wow, that is the most amazing tattoo I have ever seen.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. She worked really hard on it. It took her I think I was in that chair for like 8 hours. We did it all in one sitting. My red needs touched up now, but she did warn me that would probably happen because the red's so hard to fill in well. But anyway, so then there's a vine that follows the road all the way down. I don't know if you guys saw that. And then the vine comes out here, goes into my arm, and then later on I can bring it back up here and I can do the bottom if I want. For the rest of my life. This is a memorial piece. I originally started out with the angel, which I drew, but the guy did the hair and the baby better because I did that part really bad. For my mom, her watching over the grandkids and babies and stuff. And then I added this in for my sister Susan. Yep. That's hard to get that angle. And this is a Mendy design I drew myself and put a black-eyed Susan in it because her name was Susan. And then I said, you know what? I want to make this a whole like family tree. So then I had the girl put the family tree on, and it goes all the way up to here and goes down to there. And I had her do the family tree. And then down here it says Nana from when she died, but you can't really read it. It's too dark. I have to get it redone. It's because she was like the base. But in case you guys hadn't figured out, I like trees. So she was the base of our family, the foundation of our family. So I put her as the base of the
really
tree.
See down there. Oh yeah,
Down
no.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's also real amazing.
Thank you. I don't just go get a tattoo. Like I think, oh, cat alert. I think about it before I go run off and get a tattoo. You know, I don't like the first one I ever get was an eagle, and it took me like 12 years to get it. So, yeah. So that's my tattoos. I have this one on my leg. This was my first one ever, and it's an eagle head. And the guy messed it up really bad. So I had the girl that did my road, I had her redo it, and I drew out this picture frame and the trees and stuff for it. And then I had her do like a sunset deal behind him, and we picture framed it. It looks like it's like steel picture frame.
That's
Yeah.
what
And then
scares me most is that what if they make a spelling error?
this one on the back of my neck, my son wanted to get when he was 18, so we went and got matching ones because we're both Gemini. So that's it. That's all I got. I ran out.
I have two tats I'd like to get. I'd like to get the chemical symbol for estrogen and some lotus flowers or morning glories or something around it, maybe a butterfly. And then I would like to get a UPC code.
A UPC code?
Yeah, that has my name or something human being or
Down in the number where the numbers go, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, you can set up your own QR code.
Oh yeah, that's right. I wonder if I don't think you could do that.
I would suggest a QR code for a tattoo because a barcode, if you try to like get it to scan, it's not going to work. But if you do a QR code, it might actually scan for a while until like, I don't know, it fades or whatever.
That'd be interesting. QR code that but if you do a QR code, then it only goes to one place. And if that place changes, then you're fucked. Because the QR code would have to change.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, that would be neat if they could just zap you with zap your QR code and go to your personal page on the internet and look up whatever they need to look up about you.
I actually already had an idea about that, but it wouldn't be on your. It would have been on your clothes and not on your skin. Like your own code that you can print off and on like cloth or something and stitch on inside of people's clothes. So like if people with dementia get lost, the cop can take the app on his cell phone, scan it, and you'll know everything about that person.
I thought they had
and I would have, well, they kind of do, but I have some twists on it. But and I would have went through with it, and because I was actually talking to the guy that lives up the road from here, and he lives in town, and he's got some fucking money. And the only problem I came up with, I actually talked to Godless Engineer about it too. He said the only problem is that I would have to have somebody 24/7 manning that website. Because it's too much. I want to do too much. So.
You mean for a website for just you personally or the entire human race?
No. For my app. For the app I wanted to create to do this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's too labor intensive and it'd be really expensive to start. And there are some things that are similar to it. I have some twists on mine, which I'm not going to fucking say on live YouTube, just in case. I'm going to hold it to myself. Yeah, so it's just there would be too much competition. If I would have, came up with the app like 10 years ago or something, I'd probably be fucking rich right now. But it's just too much now. I have to compete with everybody else.
Hey Ben, if you go into family medicine or
Mhm.
internal medicine, would you have any kind of subspecialty for trans people?
So you actually don't need to subspecialize to do all of that. You can
No,
do it just.
Okay, yeah. I just used that word because I didn't know anything else to use.
Oh yeah, they don't have any off of family med, and then off of internal they have endocrinology. But then, like, if you're committing to endocrinology, you're committing to only endocrinology, pretty much. So
Yeah.
like, then you're getting a lot of diabetes, a lot of thyroid,
Yeah.
and stuff. So, and I don't
Lot
think I want to
of diabetes.
A lot of diabetes and a lot
Oh.
of thyroid. So I'm like, I don't think I want to do endo.
You know, plus with diabetes and diabetes management, stuff like that, a lot of people that are diabetic, and they're severe, it's because they didn't do what the doctor said before. So now you're trying to get them to go even harder into a better diet for whatever they need as that individual. And I think it's hard to get people to steer in that direction. Once habits are hard to break, it's like somebody telling me to quit smoking. I'm like, fuck you, man. I've been smoking for like 32 years. I doubt I'm gonna stop now, you know, like that would be a fucking miracle. Or some really good hypnosis, not sure. But you know, people are in habits of living certain ways, and most of us get our habits, especially eating habits, from our parents. So, you know, if you had parents that cooked horrible food all the time, you're more likely to eat horrible food. You know, just like if you have parents that cuss, you're more likely to cuss more. You know, it's the same thing. So, you know, then you're stuck trying to get those stubborn ass patients to change, and when they don't, you have to watch them die, and that's not cool. Because you're gonna have, there's hard. A lot of people that diabetes takes out. And some people, you know, there's just nothing you can do. It's just bad. And some people could do a lot just with their diet and cut it down to where they're not dependent on insulin, you know.
But I met this person online who's a physician who is talk about your specialties, an endocrinology surgeon.
Interesting.
Which implies to me that that's all they do is to operate on the endocrinology system.
Yeah, I would hate that. I hate anything surgery just because I'm not into procedures. I don't care about procedures. So I definitely take the puzzle side. I'd rather just solve the puzzles and then like let the surgeons do their thing, because the surgeons don't get to do any of the fun puzzles. Like, their diagnostics are pretty simple, and then like their difficult stuff is to go in and do the shit, and I don't want to go in and do the shit.
Yeah, and not nick an artery, right?
Yeah.
Like that's their job. That's it.
Their job is the hands. They do the hands. I don't need to be the hands.
As I've always equated surgeons with, you know, I come from the car business before after I dropped out of nursing. And I've always thought of surgeons as like the guy who specializes in only rebuilds carburetors or only rebuilds transmissions, or you know, that they couldn't diagnose a car to save their soul, but they sure can open that box up and make it wonderful.
Yeah. I just want to sit at the computer and do puzzles. That's all I want.
QR isn't going to be around for that long.
What's going to replace it?
I don't know.
Well, there's that new thing.
Sure, they'll come up with something
with that. I think it's called Kick or whatever. A Kick code where it's a circle with various lengths of concentric dashes and dots and stuff.
Nice. So like Morse code, but for scanning.
Yeah, I guess you could think of it that way. Sure.
Dits and dots, that's Morse code, basically. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah. For a tattoo, it wouldn't be around that long. Yeah, you're right. I don't think any of it would be very good.
Well, the other tattoo I've always wanted to get is right on the bottom of my heel.
Susie.
Which would be difficult for the healing period because you couldn't walk around on it.
Right.
But you remember when you go to the grocery store and you buy some meat, and it used to have that blue USDA stamp on it?
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm old enough.
Kind of a purplish, kind of a bluish, but it was a fairly unique color.
Yes.
I've always wanted to get one done on my foot that says USDA choice, just for the mortician to have a chuckle.
USDA choice Angus beef, baby.
Yeah, so I totally want a tattoo, but I don't have the money for it right now. But I learned that I'm such a trans guy stereotype, and it's really funny because my full name is Torben, which means Thor's bear. It was actually a random nickname given to me by my jujitsu coach back in Colorado, and it was kind of a goofy thing. And then we learned that it's a real name, and I was like, all right, well, this is my name now because like Thor's cool and bears are cool,
Right?
and so I wanna get a tattoo that's like a bear claw, but it's like in like this kind of Nordic art style to kind of signify my name. But then I was in some chat on Twitch or something talking to another trans guy who was like, yeah, I want to get a bear tattoo because that's stereotypically trans guy. And I was like, oh crap, I named myself after a bear.
When you say Norwegian style, are you like thinking of rosemary?
That's fucking great.
I don't know exactly what the design is going to look like. I need to do a lot more thinking about that. But I'm also way too poor to get this tattoo right now. So
How much would it cost?
Yeah, about 12 more years. And Ben can get that.
yeah,
tattoo.
it depends on how big I want it and what the artist wants to do with it. But I kind of want it decently big. I want it on the back of my shoulder. So it'll probably be more expensive than I should afford with my loans and army money. So,
Well, I
Yeah.
have no idea what tattoos cost. So I'm curious as to what, say a 5 by 7 inch tattoo.
Let me give you an example, okay? So this one is 3 different tattoos combined, okay?
Mhm.
And now the lady that did this was a friend of my girlfriend's at the time. So she gave me a really good deal. I spent $600. No, wait a minute, hold on. I spent $600 before tips. So she charged me less. She pays the shop less. You give fat tip. That's how it works in tattoo land.
Sure.
So she charged me a lot less. So like the tree, she charged me like $250 for, and I gave her $125 tip. So all told, where this would probably be like maybe $1,400, $1,500 depending on what city you're in. I spent like $800 on it.
Wow.
$900. This
Yeah, they're not cheap.
this
I was just
was
asking so we could set up the proper
600.
GoFundMe for Ben to get the
this was
tattoo.
$600 with and she was a newer tattoo artist, so her rates weren't high yet. And she's fucking amazing, and that's the
No.
only reason I miss Ohio. But this was $600 with the tip.
yeah, don't
Because
start the
she's newer.
GoFundMe for a tattoo. Like I need surgery first. Let me get top surgery.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's get top surgery. Yeah, that'd be good.
Well,
yeah,
I
I'd rather have a
can-
GoFundMe for a top surgery.
I can do that for you. I've got a really sharp knife.
It's okay.
I'll read,
I've got
I'll
scalpels
read the
here.
books first.
I've got the scalpels here. I've been joking around though that like days where I've had really bad dysphoria, I'll just go in like a Discord of all trans people, and be like, all right, any trans women that want my boob fat, we're doing a back alley top surgery. Just come meet by my apartment in 30 minutes.
I'll take some. Thanks.
Yeah. You'll have to fight with like everybody else on the waiting list.
Well, well, of course, trans women tend to be tall, so I'm 5'9". I was going to use that to my advantage, but that's not really an advantage.
Yeah. But it's just funny. I wish we could just like swap organs. It would be so nice.
Purple and I were already talking about that. And I said, Purple, I'll give you my boobs if you give me your penis. But we've got to know that this is a good deal because I have really, really nice 50-year-old boobs. They are perky. They look good still. So if we're going to trade, and then Purple laughed the first couple times, and then like the third time said, B, you won't be disappointed. So now we're talking. Now we can switch. They can just put us like in adjoining,
Yeah.
ORs and just swap,
Yeah.
Ben, I
And
don't know
I've-
how much talking you've done with other trans women and stuff. about it, and the social aspects and the deeply personal things about being a trans woman. Yeah, I would do anything to have been able. I'm too old now, but when I wasn't too old, to have been able to get pregnant and have a kid.
Yeah, I would gladly give anyone my uterus and my ovaries. I don't want them. They hurt me every month, and I don't want them anymore.
Nobody wants my shit. I had an endometrial ablation to stop my period, so nobody wants my shit.
And no one wants
the best thing I ever did. Fucking so worth $2,300.
See, here's some evidence that like mine are great for any trans women. I'm 5 feet tall. That means I have a shit ton of estrogen because estrogen causes your growth plates to close.
Right.
Yeah, so they're very functional.
There you go.
Yeah.
See? I feel like we should auction these off, Ben. Let's start right now. What's the first bid?
Yeah.
First bid.
I certainly thought about that a lot because I have done, every other part of taking care of children. But yeah, the closest I could get was carrying them around in a sling when they were about 2 weeks old.
Aww.
Yeah, I just want to be a dad. I want to be that cool. Well, I won't ever be a cool dad. I'll be a dorky dad, but I just want to be a dad.
Well, the young kids around me right now, my friends, they say Uncle B. So it's good.
Love it.
Yeah. And like the kids didn't like the 3-year-old, he didn't even care. He was just like, it's he. It's he. Just say he. And he's he. And then he got for a little bit and then they started saying Uncle B. And he was like, Uncle B, done. No
Kids
questions
are so
asked.
good about that.
And he's so intelligent, like he knows the difference between a girl and boy. He knows. Because when they first told him that, he was like, nah, that's a girl. Right? You know what I mean? Kind of had to think about it a little bit, but they told him that's the way it is. And he was like, okay. And about the same time, they said, no, daddy isn't a he, him anymore. Daddy's a they, them. So he was like, whew, I got to change this shit too. That kid did better than I did. And he's fucking 3. Took me forever.
Yeah, kids do really well with adapting to that kind of stuff.
I still mess it up a lot.
It's because they're more open-minded than we are. They don't have all that prejudice built in their head. They don't have all the past shit and experiences and thoughts and crap that people put in your head when you were a kid, and they haven't hit that yet. So that's the best time to teach them anything. Yep. They're just little sponges, like, show me,
Ben, have you done legal name change? I'm just trying to get an idea how far along you are.
I have done legal name change, yes.
So you're 24/7 as Ben.
Yep.
Okay. Do you find yourself either A, somebody addresses Ben and you forget it's you, or when somebody happens to call someone else across the room and it was your dead name, that you respond to it?
I still respond to my dead name, yes.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
It's so frustrating. But it just feels icky. It's just like, oh, that's not me. Like, why are you calling me something that I'm not?
That's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel about my name. It's such a girly name. And I'm on the phone and I'm doing something for work and they're like, oh, we need your full name. I'm registering for something, medical website or something.
Yeah.
Need your full name. I'm like, Madsen. Fuck. I hate it.
Yeah.
I just hate it.
People
call me that. I'm like, I will seriously tell you, do not call. It seriously pisses me the fuck off when people call me that. I cannot stand it. I don't care. You can call me anything else. Don't call me by those 2 fucking names.
I was able to train myself immediately to not physically respond to somebody calling that name out. But in the head and in the body, I would always get this jolt that, somebody's addressing you, and it would click in your head very loudly, and it would make my body twitch a little bit and kind of like a wave of goosebumps, although the goosebumps never actually showed up. But that feeling of wave of energy through your body when I would hear the name, that took a few years for it to go away.
Yeah, when I hear my given name, I get I do jump when someone says it. I kind of go like that a little bit, like, ugh. And at the same time, I get just a little nauseous.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
honest
Yep.
God truth. My stomach
No.
goes, ugh. Like I'm just thinking about it, I'm getting nauseous right now. Yeah, I don't. It's
Yep.
just not. It's really hard to walk through life. For those of you who don't understand, it's really hard to walk through life being something you're not. So just think the opposite of you and who you are, and go pretend to be like that for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm
and
still
see
having
how that,
problems
or
with
a
choosing a new
year.
name.
Do it for a year out in public. I want to see how that results.
I'm sorry, Perp, what'd you say?
I'm still having trouble with choosing a new name because it's like every time I find one I like, I kind of try it for a couple of weeks and inevitably find some reason why it doesn't work. So I've eliminated hundreds of them, but I haven't found one I can keep.
Yeah.
I don't
No, I get it. I've been
don't know
looking too.
what
It's hard.
advice to give with that. Even when I finally picked my name, did it feel right? No, because it wasn't a name that I had all my childhood in the back of my head that I'm going to be this at some point or anything. But
Well,
I
see, that's
decided-
part of my problem is all the ones I really liked as an author, I've already used them for characters. So I already identify them as being someone who's not actually me.
Well, but when you finally pick the name and you use it, it becomes you.
Yeah.
It took me a long time when. Oh God, I used to get the creeps when people would call me Jennifer versus Jenny or Jen. That for some reason hearing the whole formal name was freaking, but the abbreviated version was okay. And that's not an issue anymore. But for a few,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was weird that way. But I don't know. I think it just got. I finally chose the name that I chose because not being 100% sure if this is what I wanted. I just gave myself the argument that I didn't get a choice the first time around. Let's be realistic about this and just take what I've been thinking and seem to like a little bit, and we'll just go with it.
Rock on.
And
Yeah. I want to keep the B, and I've been looking at different sites looking for different names, and everything I find either sounds like it could be kind of like either sounds like it's too like cishet, like like that bastard redneck dude, or it sounds like it could be an abbreviation from a woman's name. So I'm like, God damn it, like that sucks. But it is hard. Like Purple, I've been doing the same thing for like, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months now. I've been digging around trying to find names. It's just difficult.
what if you just took two initials, like B with S or B with M or B with O? Or I'm sorry, I'm making a
I
bad
get
joke.
beer. If I put R on the end, I get beer.
Beer, Beerios. So
Or Burr. Or Bem. Or Bill.
I was just responding to an email because the current student body president for my medical school is working on some proposals for one of the national medical school organizations about doing a better job to support inclusive curriculum of the LGBT community and passing some legislation to support anti-bullying policies and also addressing trans people in sports and stuff. So, like, we're getting some shit moving. And yeah, so she was talking to me about anything else I want to get them to push, and she's also asking me if she can share my videos. So we're making some stuff happen, and it's pretty awesome.
I'm supposed to be this next semester doing some presentations at UW La Crosse. A friend of mine is one of the professors there, social sociology type stuff, and asked me if I would write up a couple classes and do 2-3 hours worth of stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've done that kind of stuff before. It's been such a long fucking time since I've done it. It's going to be scary.
B, I think you should make your legal name Beelzebub, because then everyone will be perfectly happy just to call you B.
Beelzebub. No, I don't think that just sounds too much. Nope. No.
Ben is one of
I
my
think that
favorite-
really labels me right off the bat, perps. Might get me killed. Not where I
Just-
live, but I can't leave my state, is the point.
You just gotta do like what I did with my whole birthday celebration. I made my birthday all bee themed, so I got all the bee things. Like I had beer, I had biryani, I had cheesecake.
Brie,
I didn't have brie. I had
Broccoli?
cheese. So you just gotta add bee onto like weird things, like I don't know, like Satan. That would be a great name.
what the fuck? You guys really think I'm that evil? God damn.
No, we're just messing with the religious people. Like it'd be great to have atheists just changing their names to Satan.
Well, I was thinking more like Beck, like Beck.
That would be cool. I like
think
Satan
Beck's
though.
I like Ben and Benjamin. It's always been one of my
But
favorites.
yeah, you can't. I mean, you could be a Ben, but then we'd have two Bens.
No. I don't want to be a Ben. Sounds too much like bend over to me. No, I'm just kidding.
It just sounds too much like Ben, and that's taken.
It sounds no. That's what I
I am
said
the
last
real
night
Ben.
on Neil's stream, and I said I almost went by Ben, but that one's taken. So
Well,
in the
that's
community,
something to consider. If you look at baby names, there's trends of baby names, and
Oh, yeah.
you look at generationally, there were not that many Jennies when I was born, when I was a kid,
Oh yeah.
but there are now, and so it's
Huh.
weird to be this old person with a name that you would typically associate with a much younger woman.
Well, they just rotate out the names.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
It's like everybody was named Ashley for a while. Now
Yeah.
none of the kids are named Ashley that are in like younger, like
Yep.
I don't know, no
And-
no insult Ben, but like Ben's age, for instance. Like there's no Ashleys now. You have other, I don't know, more creative names. Like I got this kid that comes in that's like 19 and his name is River. And I was like, what kind of name? And then I met him and I thought, oh my God, that's perfect. I don't even know why. It just blends with him.
Go do a
perfectly.
Google search for popular baby names in the year you were born, and at least look at the list, see if anything interests you.
Maybe.
Yeah, and if it wasn't already so overused in our community, Jen definitely would have been a consideration for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking Jennifers. I wish I would have known that going in.
So many Jennifers.
Go with Janine or Jean Ann or Jean or Jeannie or I don't know, Janie or
one of the reasons I started spelling it with an I, Jenny with an I, was I did that. I went onto that one website that looks up your name compared to everybody else in the country. How many of these are there?
Hmm.
And there's only 9 Jenny Morgans in the United
with
States.
an I.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
nice.
bet there aren't a lot of Torbins. I actually do know. Well, I don't personally know this person, but I know someone who has a kid named Torben. But they're also they're Norwegian.
I wonder if this is a very heavy Norwegian area in Minnesota. I wonder if
Yeah,
find another Torben.
probably.
But that would be your surname then. Yes.
Torben's my actual name. Like it's my first name.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's where I get Ben from.
Oh, I thought it was. I was assuming it was Benjamin.
No, and that's just Torben. But
Torben, right?
yep,
Well, that's even
Yep.
kind of cooler.
yeah, it's a fun name. I'm
I-
trying to
I
see what
would-
the popularity of it is.
I wish I was smarter when I changed mine. I would have taken my mom's maiden name instead of my dad's surname.
I've really thought about that, Jenny. Like I've thought about my Nana's maiden name and my mom's maiden name, and because I really just never gave a shit about my father. But the problem I have with it is I'm so connected to my siblings And that's like our name. Like we grew up, there were 6 of us growing up until we found number 7. And
that's-
there was like 3 girls, 3 boys. They called us like the Madsen bunch. So the identity of the last name was not about my dad. It was about my siblings. So I have trouble walking away from that, but I had thought about going with a different name. I don't know.
my mom's was Wilson, and I always thought that was kind of cool because there was a President Wilson. Then I found out what a prick he was. It's weird to go. It's weird to think about all this stuff. And Ben, for your curiosity, well, everybody's curiosity, really. My middle name I picked because it's the first name of my psychologist way back when, who saved my life from suicide.
Oh, nice. I vote. I'm with Ox, and I think your name should be Beans.
That'd be a great name.
Definitely Beans.
I don't know Beats, but I don't know where the fuck you got Bella, motherfucker. You want me to name you like, I don't know, Sissy or Chrissy or something?
I
Give me
like
some fucking
Beans.
bitch's name. I don't want someone with
I like Beans.
Oh.
Actually, would be a kind of a cool nickname. I wouldn't want it for myself, but it's got a nice ring to it as a nickname.
What, Beans?
Yeah.
That was the damn frog's name on Cheaper by the Dozen. No.
Well, if
I don't know why I think it's so funny.
If I knew somebody that was like a cook
Beans.
or owned a little breakfast restaurant or something,
Right.
be a great nickname.
What's up, Beans? What's up, Beans? And then you got Mr. Bean, and he's a dumbass, so we don't want to be associated with that.
I do like Beck, though. I think Beck works well for you.
I think it's good. I think I like it. I walked up to one of my bosses and said, the one that's going to be my doctor, and I said, so, I was thinking of, I'm going to change my name anyways. I was thinking of changing it to Beck. I said, what do you think about that? And she looked at me and goes, you're only allowed to change it once a year. And she started laughing, like, because she's going to have to remember the new name. She doesn't want me to do it too often. She's like, so just pick, is what she's saying. Just pick one and stick with it. Whatever it is, I'm good. I just only do it once a year on me because I don't want to try to keep changing the name.
I think
She's
Beck would be all right.
incredible. She's like 63, and she's like, okay. She's actually already transitioned one person, so.
Isn't there some musician named Beck out there?
Yeah, somebody else said that too.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't give a fuck about that low-life motherfucker. I'm talking about me. Like, I'm way cooler.
And Beck is
It's all
pretty,
good.
it can be pretty gender neutral, too. Like,
Well,
depending
that's
on how
the
you're
point,
feeling.
right.
Yeah, it's great.
Doc Fearsom's asking if he could come in.
Well, of course Doc can come in. Here, I'll give you a who's he, what's it. I forgot I haven't put it in a while, so I apologize for that, guys. You guys are all welcome in, as long as you're not like, well, you know, those kind of people.
Don't
As long
be
as
a-
you're not Ben,
Don't be a dick.
Ben's not allowed.
Don't be a dick. Thank you, Jenny. That is it. There's only one dick allowed in this chat, and that's his name.
That's right.
That's right.
Which I should tell Purple, because Purple was there during
Door
the
knob.
thing.
Wait a minute, doorknob man said Beckerhead. Beckerhead. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, that video that was requested of me on the shills where to make the mRNA video. I made the video. It's gonna release on Friday, so I gotta make sure you all can see it.
Oh, how
So,
cool.
wait a minute, do you do all your stuff on Twitch?
I'm mostly on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
my
wanna miss your
YouTube.
shit.
Yeah, my YouTube is more of my professional videos, and then
Okay.
Twitch is where I just like troll the internet. So
Okay, rock on.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I
Rock on.
subbed to you on YouTube the other night, so I should
Yeah.
be.
Hey, Ox.
That's awesome.
Speaking
getting
of
it
which,
when that's
Ox,
posted.
can you throw those links in there for Ben, because a lot of people are new to Ben, and I'd like to be able to let them find him.
I'm
Hello,
subbed. I'm
hello.
subbed.
Hello, Doc. How are you, love?
Oh, just waking up.
Oh yeah.
But I noticed here we have both present tense and past tense. B, and Ben.
Doc,
you-
you don't even know. That's hilarious. You know why? This is my joke, right? Because people
That's
say,
so
"What are your
funny.
pronouns?" And
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
I don't really like the they them thing, so I tell people it's be bem with an M on the end. They them be bem. It's like he and them mixed, or she and them mixed, whatever. Be bem.
Well, B, how you been? And how Ben, how you be?
Ben's always trying to be, and I'm always trying to Ben. Awesome. So
Ben, how are you adapting to? I should ask you this first. You're 24/7. How long have you been?
I guess I came out a year ago. And then I got my legal name change in February. But then my little army training this summer, I had to, they assumed I was female because like my army documents are a huge process to change. So that was like the worst thing ever. Like having to go back in closet again was awful. But
yeah.
so it's been a year since I've like been living as myself.
How are you
good
doing?
for you,
What are
man.
you doing with pronouns? Are you comfortable with when people use him, her, or him, he, him?
And them.
Yeah, I use he, they because I love he pronouns. I also like don't mind they, them. So those are all fine. I just don't like she.
Right.
No
Doesn't it
she,
feel
hers.
weird?
Yeah.
I hate it when people call me she. Honestly, I
I
don't like it. But
I'll never.
I don't
forget
care as
the
long as
first
nobody's
time-
being an asshole.
the first time a stranger referred to me as she and her. It was such an electric moment.
Oh, I bet.
It's really something when it happens. And all you guys in the chat, you have no idea what this is about. And that's not a put down or anything, but it's just amazingly monumental in your life when those little things happen. But it's also important to realize that it is a monumental hurt when somebody misgenders you, especially if they do it intentionally.
Yeah.
I had a guy Friday when I was at the hospital, having him in the ER checking my leg and stuff. There was this male nurse who was taking care of me and stuff. He was with me like for 15, 20 minutes. There was this other physician's assistant there who was my primary caregiver at the time. And she was talking with me as well. And they're both, using the correct name. Of course, it's the only name they know of me. And she's not misgendering me at all. And then when this guy leaves the room for the last time, he misgenders. And it's like, you son of a bitch, You've had my records in front of you. You've got my gender marker in front of you. You got my name in front of you. But it also says on my chart that I'm trans.
Yeah.
And that alone is what made him
Yeah.
misgender me. And it's like, God damn it.
Diana
Man,
was
if we
saying
could
that.
change all those, if we could change all the organs and and change the cells over to more like we were talking about, then you wouldn't have to worry about that, right? If you could change all of it into you eternally, fully into a male, then you wouldn't have to. See, the problem is that medically they need to know that stuff because men and women have different things that, like a male heart attack and a woman's heart attack does not present the same. They have to know those things. And it really sucks that every time medically you have to refer to that. Okay, yes, I'm trans. Here you go.
Yeah, I made a video specifically about this because like there are a lot of things that obviously we need to know about, but that we can just kind of leave in the chart and then never bring up again, like with the patient, unless it becomes medically necessary. And so I made a video all about how to ask medical history of trans people. And it's just me walking through how I would write a SOAP note, but then how I would phrase questions, what additional questions I would add, such as like with someone who's trans, let's say like we get to the section on surgical history, like you just phrase it like you normally would, like have you had any surgeries? And it's obvious I'm not going to forget if I've ever had a major surgery. But then you can also ask, are you interested in having any surgeries? And then you can have that conversation of what they want out of their transition. Same thing with hormones. Like, are you interested in hormone therapy? Or what is your experience with any hormone therapies that you've been on, so that you can have that conversation of where the care is going to go. So I do have a video all about that.
Nice. I like the suggesting and leaving it open and letting that person say what they have to say. That's great.
Well, when this guy misgendered me, he was actually physically beginning to leave the room, opening the door and said it. I didn't have a chance to look him in the eye and correct him, and so I just called him. I just said, "Thank you, ma'am."
That's what. Yeah, I used to do that to people.
Yeah, well, I always do that.
Diana was complaining about that same thing too, though, that saying she'd never been misgendered so much as when she was in the hospital.
Yeah, we need to do better, and that's why I started my channel. So I hope that we make some changes within the medical community, because like, you should be able to be safe with your doctor. And like I mentioned in my video that I did with Arden recently, is that and B, you'd probably understand this discussion, where it was like the whole issue with pregnancy tests and how they make you get pregnancy tests for a lot of things, and a lot of doctors will not trust you if you say there's no possible way that you could be pregnant. And like, lesbians are especially targeted with these kinds of questions. And I had a conversation online with somebody who was saying, oh, well, we do this because people lie to us. And my response, it was kind of a mic drop. I said, well, what are we doing wrong in medicine to make people want to lie to us?
Yeah, they should be able to feel comfortable enough with whatever doctor they're in front of that they disclose all information so that person can help them.
And it's a two-way street. Like, how can I expect my patient to trust me if I'm not willing to trust them? Like, if my patient thinks I think they're a liar, they're probably not going to want to be honest with me, and they're probably not going to want anything I have to give them. So,
you know what I always say? This is what I say, Ben. If I'm pregnant, we're both going to be fucking rich. Because it would have to be an immaculate conception, and I am Mary. So you can either take that, or we can just move on for this, because I'm not paying for a pregnancy test that I know I don't need.
Yeah. It's like, and we could easily fix this. And I get that liability is an issue, but here's how we fix this. We have a paper that's like, I understand the risks if I don't get a pregnancy test. You sign it. Cool. Patient understands the risks of not getting it. Don't have to ask again.
Right.
I run into a situation where sometimes I've had nurses, and doctors. I shouldn't specify that way. Who will ask, "Are you pregnant?" Of course, the answer is no, I'm not. And then their next question is, "When did you? When were your last menses?" And it's like, well, maybe you should read a couple lines down in the chart and not have to embarrass both of us. Because I only go to one hospital, and I know what my chart looks like when the doctor gets it or looks at it on their iPad or whatever.
Yeah, we need to do better. Absolutely.
I said, when you said, have you had your menses? And I said, in your dreams? Because
yeah.
Which sounds like
we dream of getting rid of it, and you folks dream of having it. So crazy, isn't it?
I've had a couple menses dreams that just are awful. They're just awful. My mom had endometriosis, and so I'm well familiar with the pain that can generate.
I can't imagine.
I also took care of her, did all her nursing when she was recovering from her hysterectomy.
Oh, wow.
I'm on my man period right now. So because I haven't been on T long enough for it to suppress anything. So yeah.
How long do they predict? I know so little about T therapy.
It's like a few weeks, I think, for menses to shut down, but it also depends on your dosage. And a lot of times they start you off on a lower dose and then increase over time to make sure your levels stabilize. And yes, I'm not on any levels that would be sufficient to stop it at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't. Isn't it based off of your natural testosterone in your body?
Well,
Is
it
that
kind
correct?
of is, but then with any type of medication, it's generally the principle is 5 half-lives for you to get a steady state concentration of a drug, unless you're using a loading dose, which would just be like a very big dose.
Right.
And you do not do a loading dose with testosterone, so it's going to take 5 half-lives to get a steady state. And the half-life for injectable testosterone is like 8 days. So we're looking at least like a month or 2
6 weeks at
to
least.
really start getting effects.
Okay, fair enough. No, I was just wondering because
Yeah.
with my son when he went in to start his, they were like, "Oh, well, we're just going to start you out on the higher dose." And I know that the females in my family tend to have higher testosterone levels, so I didn't know if that had anything to do with it.
I think it depends on the individual and how rapid they want their transition and kind of what they're looking for.
Right.
Is there a specific testosterone blocker that's available to you, or does T? And did I say testosterone? I meant estrogen.
Estrogen. Yeah.
Blocker?
Yeah, you don't need any estrogen blockers for trans men. You can just use the testosterone and it'll be enough.
Yeah, in my
One and done.
when I started
One and done.
When I started HRT the first time, they didn't use any blockers. They just slammed your body with a shitload of Premarin,
Oh, wow.
which is, of course, just an awful synthetic drug. And then,
Yeah.
and from the very beginning, they put you on Provera as well, which is another nasty synthetic hormone. And they would cycle us. They would say drop the Provera 5 days of the month and start up again and stuff like that. And I used to fucking go through the hormone cycles every goddamn month. It was awful.
Hey, Ben, I have a question for you. What's the difference between like T shots and like testosterone cream?
So the shots you're gonna do like once a week usually, and then the gel you're gonna use every day.
Gel.
And from what I gather, the injection's gonna be a bit less gradual. It's gonna hit a little bit faster. The gel,
Okay.
I've heard, is a bit more gradual of a transition.
Okay.
So it just depends on how you want to do that, and also if you want to take the medication every day or if you'd rather do it once a week. Which I don't care about needles. I'm fine with needles, so I'm like.
Oh
I'll
no,
do
it
once a
doesn't.
week.
I just don't
But-
know because like
Yeah.
some people bruise easier with
Mhm.
injections. So I was just wondering about it because if I'm one of those people, I don't want to have bruises on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all personal preference, and even
Yeah.
with the injection, you can do either IM or you can do sub-Q. I'm doing
Okay.
sub-Q, which bruises less and it scars less, and you have more options for locations.
Okay.
But it's all just personal preference.
Yeah.
Is there a testosterone in pill form, oral form?
No, there is not. And I actually made a video about oral estrogen and why it doesn't work for a lot of people.
Well,
Because that was a question I was asked. But
Because it goes through the liver and gets shredded.
yeah, first pass effect.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Hmm.
Good shit. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
yeah, no problem.
So
Since
I
we're
have
on the topic.
So I have kind of a weird medical question about, transitioning to a male. I hope this doesn't get like too personal or icky or whatever, but about the, I guess about the womb. If you're
Mhm.
if you're like decreasing your menstrual cycle or eliminating it. Are there any problems that come with that? Because doesn't the womb need to shed its lining?
Yes. The thing is, I mean, and this is just me talking out of my ass with what I know about physiology, but I
Okay.
could easily look more into this. But estrogen is what stimulates the endometrium to grow. And so if you're getting inhibition of a lot of the estrogen, or it's not having as much estrogen, you're not going to get as much of that growth. So I'd have to specifically look into that whole process. But from what I could tell, you're not getting the usual growth cycle anyway for it to
Okay.
shed.
Okay,
But-
that's interesting.
I mean, like for instance, like Doc with me, I was actually talking about this earlier. I had an endometrial ablation, so it stopped mine, so I don't ever have to worry about it again. So that is always an option for someone who doesn't want to do like the bottom surgery or doesn't want to deal with hysterectomy and the implications that can cause. You can stop your period altogether. Yeah.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, I was a little concerned about the health effects of that, you know.
Right.
And
Well, think of it like this too. They what is it exactly they give women for birth control, Ben?
It's usually estrogen or progesterone or both.
Okay. So yeah, so it's it's not like there's not already hormone therapy being used on men and women. You know what I mean? It's just
And I have a video of that too. Like, I have a video called "Why Do Doctors Want to Mess with My Hormones?" and it just talks about the fact that a lot of medications that we take for other things are hormone medications, and they mess with your hormones. Like, if you take blood pressure medication, you're messing with your hormones. Like, if you're taking insulin, you're messing with your hormones. So it's just like kind of taking this, because people are scared of the word hormone. It's like, you know what? It's not that scary, and we're already modifying your hormone balance. So maybe just calm down.
Well, and
So-
that's another hazard with a lot of these anti-trans bills,
Mhm.
that some of them are written saying that, like, it's a felony for a doctor to give hormones to a teenager. And
That's
it's
a lie.
like there's a lot of other conditions that they're used for.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, like
weapons-
insulin is a hormone.
and so is adrenaline.
Yep. Yeah. It's like, would you not give epinephrine to someone who's in anaphylaxis? Like,
Yeah.
you absolutely would do that. That's a hormone. Yeah, I talk about all those in my little video.
Yeah, I always get a kick out of well, I don't know what I want to say, citizens or cis people or lay people, whatever, who really have no clue and think that if anything is a hormone, it has to do with sex.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
it's like, well, that's
so true.
accurate.
You made me realize something though, but I didn't think about it. But a lot of the patients we have on HTZ, they're on some kind of a hormone thing too, and I never made the connection. I never thought about it till just now. Just popped in my head.
What's HTZ? I haven't heard that.
Hydrochlorothiazide.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's a blood
That
pressure
I've heard.
blood pressure
Yeah.
medication.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm on.
Interesting.
They gave me spironolactone for blood pressure, but I've stopped taking it. I do not like the brain fog it causes and
Yeah.
some other things. And I was on such a low dose that has nothing to do with a gender drug for me.
Right.
Yeah, like Junie's pointing out that even some foods can mess with your hormone levels.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Absolutely. Ox said, I suffer from PMS, post-marital syndrome.
Oh my
He's
God.
suffering because he's married now. It's a good thing your wife doesn't watch this shit, man, and read the chat. You get your ass kicked a lot.
And
A lot.
you said you were just on blocker at this point.
No, I'm on the estrogen patches.
Oh yeah, okay.
That they said they're gonna wait and check my blood levels at about 3 months and decide then whether or not it needs a testosterone blocker.
You don't have to.
Okay.
wait that long. That's silly.
So I've always wondered about the hormone therapy. Does it eventually sort of train your body to maintain the newer levels after you've had the therapy, or is it something you just have to keep going back and periodically do, or you know what I mean?
Well, you take estrogen long enough in high enough doses, it's going to shut down your testosterone production, but not 100%.
Right.
Okay, because women have testosterone in them as well.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So like eventually your body's gonna produce the levels you need naturally.
No, like I will never produce my own estrogen.
Yeah, you're gonna have
Okay.
to be on it for forever. Like I'm gonna have
Okay.
to be on T for forever because my body's not gonna produce. Like I don't have testes to
Okay.
make the same amount of testosterone that
Right,
a
okay.
cis male would.
Yeah.
But if I were to completely stop my estrogen therapy, I would not expect my T levels to go up because I don't have those little things anymore.
Yeah, basically, if you were to like if Jenny were to stop estrogen, she'd go through menopause. Very similarly to somebody who's a cis woman going through menopause.
And I did have to quit once, and I ate my dining room table. You know,
Oh wow.
Oof.
menopause is real.
Jenny. Menopause is real. Oh, it's real.
Is this our counter to the birds aren't real shirts and stuff? Just make our own shirts. Menopause is real.
Well, Sloth Girl is asking at what point can she start blaming my mood swings on the hormones.
You see, that's
I've been having the mood swings for years. She's just wondering when she can start blaming them on the transition.
anything to say about that, Ben?
I was gonna make a very sexist comment
Do it.
You're,
Do it. I'll give you $1.
because I'm a man. I was like, well, if you were already a woman to begin with, like then you're already having the mood swing.
Yeah, you're already there.
Just being a
The
woman.
estrogen doesn't matter. That's been the whole thing this whole time, Perp. She just didn't know it.
See, now I'm gonna come in and disagree. As far as my knowledge base of PMS and HRT goes, I always kind of chuckle to myself when a trans woman will say, "Oh, I'm having my monthly cycle," when they haven't changed their estrogen dosage at all. If you stop taking your estrogen or reduce it greatly, and the influence of T goes up, yeah, you're going to turn into a bitch. But if the estrogen goes up, that's not what causes the bitchiness. It's the drop in estrogen through the cycle that causes the bitchiness, as I understand it.
Yeah, and progesterone
Interesting.
can cause a lot of depression as well. But also, I do want to clarify that my sexist statement was joking and that I'm not serious.
I'm not serious about, I'm not a sexist. I don't stare at every single ass that goes by me. I don't always see them. Anyways.
Well, actually, I used to have a pin for that said, just because I'm bi doesn't mean you're cute.
It's the
great.
damn truth.
There you go.
It's the damn fucking truth, I've had some straight women look at me like I'm gonna fucking hit on them, and I'm like, oh baby, I get so much better than you. You're not even on my fucking radar, trust me. You are not cute enough to be fucking worried about that shit.
Well, it's like all that crap with the stereotype with homosexuals. I've heard it my whole life, mostly from men, like, I'm worried I'm going to bend over and all of a sudden they're going to do something, that sort of thing. And I've even heard it from women about lesbians. It's the same bullshit rhetoric. And it's like, just being homosexual doesn't make you like a grabber. It doesn't make you an ass grabber. And that seems to be more rapist behavior than any kind of normal sexuality. Nobody gets to walk up and just grab at people. Nobody gets to do that.
I've always thought that men were most afraid of homosexual men because they're afraid that man will treat them like they treat women.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to be the bitch.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And let me tell you, this has been my
I'm talking socially.
right.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Okay, this is my theory on it. I have been friends with a lot of men in my time. I have spent almost all of my life working with men. This is one of the few jobs I've ever had. This is like the third job I've ever had where I work with just women, ever. I always have worked with men. And I'm going to tell you that guys that are 100% secure in their sexuality, whatever that sexuality is, if they are a like cishet straight dude and they're secure in their sexuality, they don't say shit like that. The guys that say that kind of shit are the ones that are thinking they're afraid that they might like it / someone's going to call them a faggot.
Yeah, well,
That's what it is.
it's also politically.
I used to be a homophobic homo. I mean, I was so afraid someone would find out I was gay that if there was like lesbians, I'd be like, shh, and stay away from them. But the reason is I was afraid somebody would go, lesbian, oh, you're a lesbian too. And I'd be like, no, I'm not. I was scared to death. It was the 90s, man. People were getting fucking beat up for that shit and hung and everything else. I didn't want anything to do with that shit, you know?
Well,
So
it's also been a political tool too.
That is a thing to down be overly homophobic because you have tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, but politically, to justify it, that they've tried to paint that stereotype that all gays are sexual predators.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the people in the church don't want to admit that it's really the pastors and the priests and everything else. They get caught doing that shit more than. And by the way, I just want to say this one thing. Statistically, as of a couple of years ago when I checked, I don't know about now, I could be wrong now, but the of child molesters, it was like 90 some odd percent. No, what was it? 60, 70 some odd percent cis het white men. Cis het white men.
Well, and what they have found about child molesters is that the age matters more to them than the gender in most cases.
Yeah, there are
It's absolutely the truth.
there are actually specific types of pedophiles. I don't know about, you know, the numbers and the statistics and such, but there's a type that is not, it's not about the sexuality of the victim. It is more about the age, and it's so monstrous that they keep trying to equate homosexuality with pedophilia. It's like it just has nothing. One just has nothing to do with the other, you know.
Okay, since we're talking about sexism, I don't know if Peach is listening to this or not, but she just sent me this. It is a link to a newspaper overseas, right? Online. The title is Norway Women's Beach Volleyball Team fined for wearing shorts instead of bikini bottoms.
Oh God!
What?
Were we just talking about that earlier? Yeah. Yeah, Norway. Fined because they're wearing shorts instead of bikini bottoms. They were fined $1,766 as a team.
Let's see those shorts again.
I mean, there's some pretty nice shorts in there.
Too close. It's okay. Those are a little longer than the typical American high school girls' volleyball shorts, which I think are commonly
Yeah.
boy shorts.
Yeah, they're more like what the softball teams wear, kind of length. But the point is that the men are mad.
Crazy.
Yeah, I just had to reply to her. That's so fucked up. Anyways, there you go. I know, Junie. What the hell, Norway?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, carry on.
I
Carry
must
on.
say that those shorts do the job that they buy them for, right? That the players are made to wear them for.
You know, the bottom line is, I know that most men don't know this unless they're the boxer kind of guys. But, you know, your thighs rubbing together when you're sweaty and hot and exercising, it's not okay. Okay? It's and if you're out on a beach playing in the sand and you're covered in sand and your thighs are rubbing together, it's like sandpaper.
Yeah.
So it's not cool, assholes. You want them to like literally take a chance of hurting themselves so you can look at their asses. Fuck you, Norway. I can't even believe that. Peach said sexist shits. Yes, sexist shits. Abso-fucking-lutely. So how many people that are attracted to men would like for all the athletic men to start wearing thongs where they're got that pouch package deal going on? Would you guys, any of you people that are interested in men, like to see that? Because I think we should start fining them for not wearing that. So all the straight women or all the bisexual people or whatever can look at that shit. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'll never go the game anyway, so I don't care. I'm just saying that they should be fined.
I would think that should fall under the truth in advertising laws, that you should see what's in the package before you open it.
Hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with a preview. I call that foreplay.
I have this weird dichotomy inside myself. Hormone therapy changes you, and as I got more into the hormone therapy that I'm on now, which is much more advanced and better than the stuff I took in the ancient days, it changed me, and I started to get all these unnatural desires towards men. And I find some of them very attractive, and I would love to have them bounce my bones and penetrate and fuck me to death. But
okay, that's
I
pretty
feel-
honest.
I still think the penis is one of the ugliest goddamn things on earth, and I don't want to see it anywhere. Not even
The only-
in the bedroom. Turn the lights
The only
off.
time I want to see a penis is if I'm the one using it. Bottom line.
So
Absolutely, 100%.
See, that's why Ben and I get along so well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
well,
like,
when we were
right?
talking about the potential side effects of the hormone patches, you know, the doctors were pointing out that one of the ones that most people deal with is a decrease in the sex drive. And I was like, yeah, you know, that would be a relief if it wasn't so constantly distracting.
Yeah, my increase in sex drive has been interesting, because really I've had almost no physical changes yet from testosterone. The emotional changes happened, and then like before T, sure, like I would get sexual urges, but they were a lot more mild, and things would take a lot longer to kind of brew. But now, like I sit the wrong way, I'm like, fuck, blood flow.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what I was gonna say. My son was like, Mom. I'm like, what? What's up, son? And he's like, dude, this tea. And I'm like, what? He's like, I am constantly like. So my clit is all the time fucking hard and just tingly. And he's like, it's very distracting at work.
welcome to
I
high
said, well, that
school.
makes sense why all the young boys used to run the bathrooms and jerk off in high school. Because he's like, man, you got to have some relief, man. It's killing me.
Yep.
Like
And
literally,
it's a lot
said.
stronger than it was before too. It's like even when I would get urges before, like it did not feel this way. Like it's just a lot stronger now.
Well, see, my PTSD meds are actually knocked down my libido, and it really like I have to really be into somebody. Like I just can't have sex with somebody I'm not really into because I'm just like, nope, ain't nothing going on down there, and it sucks. And so I'm sitting here thinking, it means it'll make me normal again. All right, I'll take normal. I'll take. I want to have sex all the time again. Yeah, sure. Why not? I'd love to. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. You know,
Yeah, mine has
I want
gone
to touch her.
Mine's actually gone the wrong direction because while it hasn't reduced the libido any, the first side effect I noticed is that my nipples are constantly erect and brushing against things.
Oh well, yeah, get used to that for a few years.
Oh dear.
Doc's like,
I
I might
could-
have came in the
No,
wrong
no,
channel.
I have experienced like some very bad, very painful chafing of the nipples. When I have to work, I get really sweaty. It gets really sweaty under the clothes, and
Yes, the
like
salt irritates it.
I have had some terrible experiences with with chafed nipples, and I feel sorry for you, Perps. I don't want you to go through something like that.
The saying in the community is, "Sore means more." So
Oh.
That's not the saying in our community. You just made that shit up.
no. You're not in my community.
Oh, your community. I'm sorry.
Yeah, those of us who have to grow them as adults, it's
Oh,
we
okay.
come up with these clever
Touche.
things.
Touche. Here I am trying to get rid of mine, right?
I do have another question, if I may, and this would actually be perfect because I think we have a trans male and two trans females here, so
Well, we got two of each.
or two of each. Okay.
Yeah, I'm working towards that. Doc,
Oh, I
just so
didn't
you
know that.
Yeah, I know, buddy. I haven't seen you in a while, and I was just kind of admitting it
congrats.
this week. So, yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
So I recently watched a video about the female orgasm and multiple orgasms, and so I mean,
I've
this
seen
video
that in
could be
person a
wrong.
lot. Oh, I'm sorry, Doc. Go ahead.
I mean, this video could be wrong and stuff, but it mentioned how males, once they orgasm, there's actually like a chemical thing that happens in the brain that blocks them from having another orgasm anytime soon. But that doesn't happen in female brains, or two females in general. So that's
That'd be like
that's how you get
24/7 hard on.
Yeah, that's that's how you get the multiple orgasms. So I wonder if that changes if you transition from male to female, if that blocking effect ceases and you get to have multiple orgasms.
Probably another indication I had a female brain to start with then.
I didn't find that multiple orgasms happened until after I had my bottom surgery, and I can't explain why.
Okay.
Same nerves, it's the same tissue, it's configured differently, but boy, the orgasm, Jesus Christ, changes so much to the good.
Yeah, I've only been on T for a week, so I don't quite know yet everything that's going on with me. But something that has changed is that I can no longer pee afterwards. Like I have to wait a little bit before I'm able to pee.
Oh.
I wonder if there's some size changes already, and I'm getting like some compression.
I find that interesting because one thing I definitely notice about myself is that I need to pee afterwards.
Yeah, I used to need to pee afterwards, and like now I need to pee, but I can't do it.
Yeah, that needing to pee afterwards, that's totally a woman thing. Absolutely.
Well, I get
Well,
that
and that
too.
not being able to do it for at least a few minutes afterwards is something a lot of men experience.
Oh yeah, I did. I used to do. Yeah, absolutely.
That's weird because I can pee immediately after, and often do.
The other
Maybe
thing,
it's a size thing, Doc. Maybe you're just like so huge that it just doesn't affect you.
I think it's something. I'm guessing it's something related.
That's so not it.
I'm thinking it's something related to anatomy, and like positioning of things that are now getting more blood flow, and its proximity to the urethra, and how like I think there might be some like obstruction maybe. But I don't know. I'd have to look into it. But it's something that's really
kind of
weird
what
now.
I had always assumed it had to do with tissue swelling up and like putting
Yeah,
pressure
that's
on
what I
it.
thought. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought.
And now I'm getting more like with the testosterone. I'm getting more like tissue swelling, and like growth does happen. I don't know how quickly, but it does. So that's what I'm guessing.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm going to do. I'm going to go around town to all the hot doctors and go, I have some tissue swelling. Can you check it for me?
Ox is trying to get pummeled by all the women again.
I heard the only way a woman can have an orgasm is to take acting classes. That depends on the guy, Ox. That depends on the guy. I'm going to tell you right now. I acted for a lot of years. I'm actually quite skilled at it. Luckily, I'm an honest person, so I don't do it anymore. But
I used to be an actor.
yeah, I was an actor. I was an actress, and now I don't act. Yeah, I quit.
Transgender people are the best secret keepers and actors on the planet.
Fuck yeah.
Mhm.
Fuck yeah. I mean, I felt like, I don't know, goat screwing a steering wheel or something. Like, it was just not right. It was never right. It was always awkward. It was always horrible. I was always taking over in bed. I was always making them do things themselves so I didn't have to touch them. Like, that was my gig.
Mhm.
I was really good at that thing. Yeah, that part. Yeah. Yeah, just don't.
We would've
I
got
date a
along
guy and then he'd want to have sex with me and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to date you anymore.
We would have gotten along fine. I was always looking for somebody who would take over and just let me, be
Well,
the-
see, there you go. But there's a problem. It was that thing you got rid of. That would be the problem. Just don't.
That's interesting. I have never had this kind of discussion with
Now-
with
See, I've-
with trans men before. This is fascinating.
I've dealt with that because I'd been with lesbians, and some of the best sex I ever had, I never took my pants off. So I didn't have a problem keeping it holstered if they were uncomfortable with it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's also like beards, 5 o'clock shadow, hairy bodies.
Yeah.
I just can't. I'm tactilely challenged anyways. I even want my clothes have to be a certain kind of comfortable for me or I will not wear them. Even if they're brand new clothes, I just will be like, nope. I'll just throw them out or something. I won't
That's
wear
something I'm already finding out that, women's clothes, there are so many more textures than there were in men's clothes.
Oh no, I'm good with men's clothes. What I'm saying is I tactilely don't like to touch men because they're hairy and they feel prickly and rough and coarse
Yeah.
to me. And when I touch a woman's body that's soft, I'm just like, I swear, I'll just rub Peach's leg sometimes and go, man, that's so soft. Like it just feels good, It's not sexual. It's just like, I don't know, like a baby touching a soft blanket, it feels good to them. It's kind of like that,
Yeah.
It just feels good.
And the HRT really changes that feature in a person. The texture and softness of the skin, it's amazing. The difference.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
So I'm going to get rougher? All right.
probably.
All right. I don't care. That's what they
Yeah,
make
does
lotion
your-
for.
Does your that's an interesting question too. Does like the coarseness or softness of your skin change with hormone therapy?
Well, I was told that with the estrogen therapy that, the skin will probably become softer over time.
Right.
And do your smells change?
Oh, your smells
Yes.
change. Your smells absolutely do change.
Okay.
I have even heard of several instances of people where their dogs or cats started acting strangely after they transitioned because they no longer smelled the same. So it took the animals some time to get used to that.
Touche.
I've always defined the difference in body odor, body sweat, as the male odor was extremely acrid and
Mhm.
voluminous before my changes, and afterwards, it's almost not there, and it is certainly not acrid in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I mean that depends on the person too, but in general, men have a more musky
Yeah.
smelling. That's why they musks to attract a lot of women. It's like a guy smell. It really is. That's a natural thing. They just changed that, added some cologne smell to it, made it smell a little better. But
See, they don't need
no,
no
it's
cologne and
they're
stuff.
muskier.
They just need to look like Jason Momoa.
Oh, okay, touche.
You know, that's
Touche.
all they need to do.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think
Well,
it would help for men to be more like predatory fish, though.
We'll put out we'll put out feelers, Jenny. See what we can do. Okay. Okay. I mean, Ben will run into a lot of like patients that are, you know, a good age range for you. That, you know, Ben, help us out, man.
Yeah, I got you.
What's interesting?
Yeah,
of
find
my-
somebody for Jenny.
What's
Looks like
interesting
Jason
about my
Momoa.
lusting for Jason Momoa is, I all my life, before transition, after transition, doesn't matter. I have never really thought that the extreme bodybuilder kind of physique was attractive at all.
Okay.
It's just not. And I was never all that impressed with Jason Momoa. You know, he's a good looking guy, and he's an okay actor and stuff. But when I learned about him, and this is one of the fascinating things I think about HRT and just the whole change that a person goes through. That when I got to know him on TV talk shows and stuff like that, where he was just being himself and talking about things like his family and his love for his kids, and I heard from other sources about how people really admire him and his family life and all those things that actually count about a person. Then he became wildly attractive, and it's like, damn, where does that come from?
Well, no, that's what I've said, that, you know, some people become more attractive the more you get to know them, and some people appear beautiful until you get to know them.
Absolutely, Perks. I have said something to that effect. I agree 100. Yep. It's true. I've seen some women that I was like, holy my brother would have said, I drink her bathwater. Not the brother you guys know, the fucked up one, the middle brother. But I've met women like that, and they were like amazingly beautiful, and then you talk to them and either they just sound stupid or they're just a bitch or whatever, and I'm like, oh, you're really ugly. Why did I think you were attractive? It literally will, like, you look at them again and you're like, holy shit. Now I see.
For the chat's reference, I did not grow up gay. I was not attracted to men. I still don't consider myself attracted to men, but there are certain men that I have met or I would like to meet that push my buttons.
Right? Yeah, I think there's something it's almost like a social disorder, that the people who have been told all their lives how attractive they are generally get such an attitude about it that I just can't deal with those people.
Yeah.
And it's also really interesting how diverse that attraction is. I mean, okay, like I've mentioned Jason Momoa, I think he's hot. I've also always thought that Mark Harmon Gibbs on that show is very attractive. But I've also always thought that John Ritter was very attractive. You know, and now how different can you get?
Yeah, but he was like the goofy guy all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
The humor attracted you with that one. There was the intelligence and drive in the other ones.
Yeah.
Well,
so if we could get all three of those together, that would be the ideal guy for Jenny. Check. Yeah. Work on that, Ben.
It's also
got it.
I got it. Not I would never marry a man. There's not a chance on earth that I would marry a man.
I don't think I'd ever marry anybody again.
I am lesbian. I just have certain interest in certain men.
Oh, okay.
That's even unusual with a lesbian. I've had other friends say that to me too.
So, let's go around. Purple, final thoughts on the conversation. Anything you want to throw in before we call it a night?
No, I could continue to go on for some time, but I can't do anything. That'd be a short wrap up.
Touche. Jenny, anything to wrap up with?
I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. All of you
Me too.
Are just are so pleasant and so mature, with a good bit of very intelligent humor mixed in. I've really enjoyed getting to know all of you much more. It's just been a very lovely evening.
Well, you know, Jenny, what we're gonna have to do is we'll have to get all four. Well, I guess Doc, if you wanted to come too, but we should just get all four of us together and just carry on this conversation sometime, because I think it's I think we're all learning stuff off of each other and maybe expanding our brains and experiences here. So I would like to talk further, but I just have to work in the morning. I have to get up early, so I can't. Stay
Well,
up
yeah,
late
and,
tonight.
you know, especially having people transitioning in both directions, I think offers some interesting insights into the whole process.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have
Absolutely.
tons to learn from you, Ben.
Yeah, and me from you all.
And me from you all. Seriously, yeah. I do have a lot
I
to
have
learn.
lots to learn from you too, B. But I mentioned Ben because I have a medical bent to my knowledge base. And
Yeah, no. I did not take any. Look, I have no bones about the Ben's more intelligent than me. I'm okay with it. I don't care.
wouldn't say
I'm
that,
just me, baby. I love me.
but
I don't get offended like that. It's fine.
it just
I
tickles
don't care.
my technical bones.
Yeah. Well, no, that's one of the reasons I like Ben for his brains.
Oh,
That's one of the
shucks.
reasons I like talking to Ben is because I'm interested in anything medical anyway. I have this much of a medical background, and I've spent a lot of time around, nurses and such most of my life, and the medical field always has like a little place in my heart. And I'm not one to go to college, but if people tell me stuff, I glean information. I will keep that information for the most part, unless I'm really high. That's the exception.
I would just love to do a stream like sharing EMT stories with B. I think that'd be really entertaining.
I do
I
have
have
a
some
I have
wild
a couple
stories.
good ones. I don't
Yeah.
have very many, but I have a good handful of that'll keep us busy during the stream. Yeah, we should totally do that.
I don't have enough experience to be part of a stream like that, but I've worked in ERs for about half a dozen shifts in my life.
Might still have some good stories. There's always a story in every night in an ER.
There
Yeah.
are some
Oh
very-
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Doc, what are your final thoughts?
I just really wanted to thank all of you guys for letting me ask a few questions and talk about some things I was wondering about, and I realize these are really, really frank and personal issues for people, and I just want to thank you and commend your bravery for helping me with my curiosity. There's a lot I don't know, and a lot I want to know. So,
Well, I'm going to put it to you this way. I'm going to tell you a quick story. Okay. I walked into a grocery store, and I'm walking up the main aisle, and I'm walking by people that are facing this way at the registers, right? Lined up. And this little girl's standing next to her mom. And she looks up at me, and I looked at her. I saw her looking at me. I looked at her, and I smiled at her. And she said, "Are you a boy?" And her mom goes, "No, honey, no, that's rude." And I said, No. I said, "Don't, she can ask. That's fine." And the lady said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I said, "No, I'm a girl." She goes, "But you have short hair." And I said, "Well, some boys have long hair and some girls have short hair. It just depends on what we like." And she kind of thought about it for a second. She was like, "Okay." And I said, "Bye." And she said, "Bye." And I walked away. My point is I never discourage anybody from asking a question, because if you stop people from asking questions, then you get ignorant people. Everybody needs to understand
Totally.
each other. Everybody needs to expand their brains. Even me, as liberal and fucking like gay, about to go trans, blah, 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 that I am, I still have things that I need to learn. And I want everybody to learn. So I never, ever discourage anybody from asking me a question. I don't give a shit how personal it is. I'll either answer you 100% truthfully, whether you like it or not, or I'm going to say, that's a little too far and I'm not comfortable with that. But I'll tell you. So don't ever be afraid to ask. I'll tell you where the line is.
That's been my tactic for dealing with my family, is that I will give them an honest answer to anything they ask.
There you
And
go.
it's been amazingly successful that for 30 years they've been afraid to ask me any serious questions.
Because you were too honest. Yes. Sometimes I like penis. I can just hear Purple doing it right now. Oh shit, Purple.
And on the flip side of that coin, I just want to encourage people to be a student forever, Spend the rest of your lives being a student, always be inquisitive and not judging.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh,
Agreed.
yeah. If I could afford to, I'd just be constantly enrolling in college courses with no intention of getting a degree.
Well, you don't have to go to any school. Just like I said, be inquisitive.
Yeah.
Ask honest questions. Don't judge, and just develop a educational partnership with people.
Yep. Well, this is also why I've maintained valid library cards in 3 different states.
And just for people out there that might think, well, there's people I'd like to ask things, I don't know how to approach them. This is what you do. Say, I mean, absolutely no disrespect to you, but I've always been curious about this or something relating to who I think you are. Could I ask you this? Are you trans or whatever? And maybe they'll be insulted. Maybe they'll answer. If they get insulted, that's fine. Just back away and leave. If they answer, then you can move forward with the conversation. As long as you don't walk up and act like you're being some sarcastic asshole, or you're being demeaning, or you're being whatever it is, homophobic, whatever. As long as you show respect and you're gentle and kind about it, and thank them for talking to you about it, not only are you gaining knowledge yourself, but you're letting that person know there's people out there that they can talk to about it and teach, and it's okay, and they don't hate them.
Yeah.
So you're opening up 2 roads by doing that.
This in itself can lead into another couple hours of discussion here. So
I know we need to stop this. So speaking of which, Ben, final thoughts.
Yeah, this is a super great talk. Also, go watch me eat Birrios on Twitch tomorrow. I think I'll probably do it around 8:30 Eastern time, which is like 5:30 my time. Since this seems to be a good time tonight. PM.
Oh, I was going to say that's way too soon. We need to talk, man. It's too soon to start drinking, man.
No, I think in the evening tomorrow it's going to happen. So
sweet. All right. I have to see if I can catch up with that.
I hope I remember. I want to see this.
Anybody is interested in Ben's channel, I'm sure Ox can throw it one more time in the chat over there for me. I just want to thank all of you for coming on. I want to thank all of you for the, pretty much what Jenny said. I love the fact that we can all sit here and discuss this and be open and forthright and respectful. And that is one of the things I love about my peeps. My peeps are all respectful to each other. So thank you all for that. Thank you, Doc, for asking things in such a respectful way. I truly appreciate that. You were totally cool about it. Didn't offend anybody. And that is exactly, if you guys need lessons on how to talk to gay or trans or whatever people, talk to Doc. He'll straighten you out there. Everybody in the chat who's left, all 8 of you, thank you for hanging out. I know it was kind of long, but you know how we get. It's a good topic. We keep going. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your support. And always, I truly appreciate it more than I could ever tell you guys. I love the love. So everybody out there, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another.
Goodbye, chat.
And have some peace in your life.
good night, all.
TTFN.
bye.